speaking the truth while being uncompromising. The world is in a very dark, effective versus relevant. We want to see lives changed and souls saved. Success is not measured in material wealth or possessions. Get ready for...
I'd just like to say a few things. First of all, I was on that list. And like Paul Harvey would say, and now the rest of the story. You know, our President Trump calls the media the fake news. And there's a reason why. Whoever did the editing for you, brother, is a devil.
Cherry pick.
Whoever did the editing for you is a devil. I said the word, S word, but I said it in its context. I was quoting from an Old Testament prophet who said, God's going to wipe dung on your face. And the context of that teaching was, do we really know what the word dung is today? If Malachi was alive today, and then I gave definitions. That was the context. Everywhere I go preach, there's cameras around me. I can't go anywhere without a camera. I'm going to a news studio tomorrow, to do an interview. There isn't cussing. The context of that was me giving that teaching. You're just as bad, whoever edited that, as the fake news.
So you get a rebuke me now?
No, I'm telling you, I'm clearing it up. I also said to somebody, to a woman in Florida, may God bless you with breast cancer. Let me tell you,
is that a blessing?
let me tell you the rest of the story. What you will never hear on the video is that woman came back 15 minutes later weeping.
Hallelujah!
The doctor just told her 2 days ago she had breast cancer. Okay? Wow! You talk about railing, you'd have issues with the Apostle Paul, who called Simon Peter a bunch of names and cursed him. It's in the book of Acts.
Jesus.
You can define words. You cannot define an example. That's the unique thing about the Bible. You can talk about words and definitions. I know people who understand Greek and English. Both of these guys wouldn't be able to even enunciate those words in Hebrew. But when you have examples, that eliminates the definition. Do understand? Paul made it very clear. I curse you, Bar Jesus, with blindness. If that ain't turning the other cheek, I don't know what is. So I do understand this. I'd just like to say a few things.
How's that? Is that better? Can you guys hear me now? How's that? Is that better?
It's working? Okay, good. Okay. Okay. So, this is one of these videos that I fully expect to lose some people that supposedly call me their friend, their brother, whatever. It's just, I don't care anymore. I think that a lot of stuff that's happening is ridiculous. For me personally, I am sick and tired of having to walk on eggshells for a bunch of big, bad street preachers who have their feelings hurt just as much as the sodomites out there, or who get triggered just as much as some leftist Democrat when they hear the word Trump. I'm so over and sick of this crap with this. And, I want to preface this first by saying this. Number one is, and it's come to my attention recently, okay? This is something that it recently came to my attention, is that, a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing now, I didn't see before with Ruben because, I worked with Ruben. I didn't work with a lot of these other guys. I worked with them only when I saw Ruben. I wasn't necessarily chummy with them, to put as some other people say. And, I was told that Ruben kind of shielded me from some of this stuff for fear that I might walk away if I had known some of these things that, he was dealing with or that needed to be dealt with or what have you. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. My personal opinion on this is that there's a lot of stuff that I believe was hidden from Ruben from people that really hid who they were because they wanted to ride Ruben's coattails. They wanted to be part of Ruben's group, so they didn't really expose who they really were until recently. And now that Ruben's not here anymore, I see a lot of people who are trying to step up and they're trying to jockey for this leadership position that, for me, it makes no sense because I don't understand why anybody wants to be a leader of Ruben's ministry. I mean, don't you have your own ministries? I know people have said there's a lot of things with jealousy. And again, I fully anticipate to lose some Facebook friends over this. Because, what I'm going to say tonight is going to be something that's been needed to be said for a long time, in my opinion, because what I have seen recently, some of the stuff that I've seen is so bad, it's so despicable, so disgusting. I don't know how these people can call themselves Christians from the things that they're saying and doing. But I did want to start off by just simply saying, that I loved Ruben. I know Ruben would not put up with any of the stuff that he's seeing today, the stuff that he's hearing, and there's a reason why I played that clip in the very beginning. The reason I played that clip in the beginning is because Ruben said a lot of things. He taught us all a lot of things. And one of the things that Ruben could not stand is when people took clips of his preaching, okay, and made narratives around those clips and then shared them to try to slander him. Everybody that knew Ruben or watched Ruben knew that is one thing that Ruben couldn't stand. Okay, he didn't make a big deal about it, but when it was brought to his attention, obviously you see he did address it and he did, correct those people. And he said that the people that do that are devils, right? You guys heard it. He said it. They are devils. So I would think anybody that wants to take over or is next in line to read Ruben's ministry would kind of have that same type of feeling that Ruben did. Correct? So, don't judge, be nasty to other Christians. Shut up. See what I mean? These Christians out there today, they're no better than the homosexuals that we preach to the sodomites. Don't judge. Don't hurt their feelings. Some feelings didn't get hurt. As Ruben said, I'm going to crush some toes. So why am I doing this? Is there a biblical basis for doing what I'm about to do? Now, again, all the people out there that are out in the streets, and again, this is by no means to slam the entire street preaching community. There are a lot of great brothers and sisters out there that truly love the Lord, that are truly out there. They're preaching, they're teaching, they're really doing things that the Lord has told them to do. So this is not an attack on street preaching. All this is what I see it as a cleansing, a necessary cleansing. And I've agonized over this for days. I've sought counsel about doing this video for days from multiple people. And yes, while you may have heard from certain individuals that rpenkoski doesn't take counsel, let me tell you something. I took counsel from Ruben. Ruben on his things even said all the time, well, Brother Ruben, rpenkoski won't take counsel from anybody. And Ruben would fire back and say, no, he doesn't take counsel from you. I take counsel from David Grisham, Adam Bishop, Jim Gillis, Brian Cranford. You know, just because I have a platform, just because whatever, doesn't mean that I don't need counsel too. There are things that I need, especially when it comes to certain situations that I may be biased towards, that I need to seek outside counsel so that I can do things the right way and make sure that it's done biblically correctly. And this is one of those things. We all know the story of Jesus cleansing the temple. Most street preachers will use this in regards to other churches. That, when we're talking about don't judge, you got to love them, this, that, and the other. Every street preacher I know at some point in their ministry, at some point out there when they're preaching, has used any of these stories about Jesus going in and using a whip, clearing the temple out. He was cleansing the temple, cleansing the church of the time. And yet somehow or other, we're able to go to other churches, rebuke them for the sins in their church. And yet we're unwilling to cleanse the temple, cleanse our own communities for fear of dividing people. What I've been hearing lately for the past 2 weeks is, a lot of street preachers use the word division the same way the Sodomites use the word love. They have twisted and distorted, and they're saying that we need to unite, regardless of the cost, regardless of compromise, regardless of what could happen. We need a cleansing of the temple. They did it back then, okay? We all have preached this. Every single person that's out in the streets has preached this message. Has always, 150%, I guarantee you, that there's not a street preacher around that has not talked about Jesus using whips and chasing people out of the church. Now, what I'm about to do tonight, some people are going to say, Rich, you're being divisive. Again, I don't care. I don't care about walking on eggshells for people who get their feelings hurt because the truth needs to be told. So it is biblical to cleanse the temple, to chase the money changers out, to chase those people out that will absolutely try to hurt the church. Again, we preach sermons like a little leaven leavens the whole lump, right? We see this in Scripture. Everybody preaches this. We always preach this. This is one of those messages, again, that almost every single preacher I know preaches. We've all heard this. A little leaven leavens a whole lump. It only takes a very small amount of leavening to destroy the entire thing, okay? Whether it's corrupting, perversion, all these things. And all I keep hearing is we have to just compromise. We have to do this. We have to do that for the sake of unity. Bull. Bull. Why do we have to compromise? Why are we able to go out at the Southern Baptist Conference and rebuke them for covering up their sex scandals? We rebuke the Catholic Church for a lot of things. But one of those things is we rebuke them for covering up their sex scandals. We rebuke other churches, denominations for covering up scandals, and yet we as a community of street preachers, we don't uncover our own scandals. We want to hide them, keep those secrets buried. Why? Does that not make us hypocrites if we do stuff like that? If we want to keep everything hidden, brother, we can't do this. Do you know how fake some of these people are that I'm seeing now that Ruben's not here anymore, that now I'm getting the full effect of half these people are? Everything you see on Facebook from a lot of these guys is a complete facade. Just like Greg Locke's facade, just like Activist Mommy's facade, just like Josh Feuerstein's facade. Just like when I became popular in social media all those years ago, and all of a sudden Greg Locke came and wanted to introduce me to his Evangelical Boys Club, and I said, no, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to compromise to be famous. I don't want to compromise. And you know what? The Lord has blessed me with a platform of my own. No, I don't get a lot of money from it. I don't care. The work that we're doing, we're uncovering child trafficking rings. We're uncovering pedophiles in our schools. We're shutting down drag queen groomer hours. And to me, that's more important than anybody else that's going to sit there and try to pretend there's something they're not on Facebook because they want clout, they want a following, they want a platform. If you've been a preacher for 20 years and God has not blessed you with a platform, there's probably a reason for it. Reuben had a platform. And too many people want to take over Reuben's platform. They crave it. They want it. They covet it. If you wanted a platform of your own so badly, why didn't you build one yourself? Why didn't you get one of your own? Why do you want to take somebody else's? And if Reuben wanted you to have his platform, whoever you are, he would have given it to you. Don't say he died, whatever, because you know what? There are people Reuben has had working with him over the years. I happen to be one of those people that I had the passwords to his Facebook, to his YouTube. 6 months before he died, he turned over the domain name, Official Street Preachers, to me and put the website on my server. And contrary to what liars say, it wasn't just for web updates. Anybody doesn't understand how IT works, you don't need to change your server completely just to update your site. That is a ludicrous lie that people just want to buy hook, line, and sinker. It is a lie from the pit of hell from somebody who's jealous and envious, who sat there with a Delilah spirit, pretended to love Reuben, pretended to be Reuben's friend, all in the hopes that when Reuben passes away, he could take over and make himself king. It didn't work, and now he's jealous. The truth of the matter is this little community, truthfully, I'd have been better off not meeting them. Reuben, absolutely. I needed to meet him. I learned a lot from Reuben. But there's a lot of people, I had phone calls from people that would say to me, JK was one of them. Rich, I wasn't chummy with Reuben like you were. I only saw him at Sopa Sol. There's a lot of people that want to act like they're Reuben's buddies because you saw them in a video with him that didn't really know him that well. Just because you see people in videos with somebody doesn't mean you really know them that well. There are people you'll see in videos with me that have never met my wife, have never met my children, have never been in my home. But they'll tell you they're the expert on me because they took a few selected clips and framed a narrative around it and wanted to make you think something that isn't there. It's happened to Reuben, it's happened to me, and it's probably happened to a lot of you as well. That's the part and parcel of being out there as a Christian. But as a community of street preachers, we need to clean house every once in a while. We need to cleanse our own temples. We need to get the whips out sometimes and chase the fakes out of our own community sometimes. And it is biblical. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 13, God will judge those outside. Okay? So expel the wicked man from you so that God can judge him. I added the last part, of course. But God is saying expel wicked people from amongst us, from the church, so that God can deal with them. And we don't want to do it for the sake of unity, because friendships, because we have relationship with people, because we want optics, we want to be out there. Again, most people, let me rephrase that. Not most people. I don't want to be that guy. There is a lot of people out there that are preaching for the wrong motives. They're out there because nobody likes them in the real world. Nobody wants to be their friend. They're the most toxic people on the planet, so they yoke up with other people that are just as toxic, and they form little groups, and that's the only friends they have. The only life they have is in the street preaching community, because nobody else wants to deal with these people. So everything that we're doing here today, tonight, is 100% biblical. If you don't like it, I just don't care anymore. You can say what you want. I'm sure there's going to be some clips taken from this video. I'm sure there's going to be some Facebook posts talking about how prideful Rich is, because that's what people do, right? They'll tell me, Rich, don't you think maybe you could be wrong? And I say, do you think you could be wrong? Well, no, you're just prideful. Wait a second. So you think I'm prideful because I'm saying I'm not wrong about this, but you're saying you're not wrong about it, and I'm the one who's prideful? Or because I'm confident in my assertions, because when I do a teaching, I've done my study, I've done my homework, and I can confidently say, yes, this is what I've read, this is what I've seen, somehow that makes me prideful. It's just a slanderous attack, and I'm just, again, the feelings of people in this community are so fragile that if you dare speak up at anything, it's, oh my gosh, you're sowing division. Division's not necessarily a bad thing. Jesus said he came to bring a sword that will divide, weeds, tares. He will divide families because of the truth. And it's high time the truth starts coming out. We don't ignore evil. We seek to expose it. Just because maybe you're not a homosexual, maybe because you're not a fornicator, maybe you're not a murderer or thief, that doesn't mean you're not evil. How many times as preachers do we go out there and we say gossiping, backbiting, lying, all these things, cowardice, apathy, these things are evil as well. And if we're willing to call out those little evil things, then we need to do it within our own communities. And gossips, backbiters, fakes, all this, it's all evil. You have no idea the amount of crap people talk about each other behind their backs. I held 2 sopas in my house, and the amount of slander and gossip and storytelling I've heard about this guy, there are Christians out there who love their spouses, who say how much they love their wife. And I hear mothers going, man, what's going on in their marriage? Simply because they're talking about how appreciative they are of their wife, how appreciative they are that God has blessed them with this woman, or how appreciative God has blessed them with this man. And other Christians, their supposed brother, are sitting there behind their backs going, man, somebody must be cheating on somebody. Somebody must be cheating. Somebody's idolizing their spouse. And then in your face they go, hey, brother, hey, sister, how are you? We love you. While they're talking smack about you behind your back. Okay? And the Bible says, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Luke chapter 12, verse 2. Mark chapter 4, verse 22 says, for everything that is hidden will eventually be brought into the open, and every secret will be brought to light. Everybody wants to keep this stuff buried, and they think, oh, you don't division, but the Bible tells us everything done in secret needs to be brought to light. It needs to be brought into the open so that we can see it, so we know who's who. This whole idea that we need to keep these secrets buried, that we need to just keep these things to ourselves for the sake of unity, is a bunch of anti-biblical nonsense. It's ecumenicism at its finest. And every street preacher I know preaches against ecumenicism, but yet they have formed their own ecumenic community amongst themselves. Because they're afraid to talk about the things. And again, every one of you, every street preacher I know that worked with SOPA could walk away from me. I don't care. None of them support what we do anyway. None of them. Reuben was the only one that supported everything that I did. And Reuben used to tell me all the time, we need to learn what you're doing with these politicians and all that stuff. Even Brother Mark, who was at my house this past weekend, said, I heard the stuff Rich was doing. We didn't deny it, but we just didn't understand it. Now that we were there and we saw it, wow. He saw talking to politicians, talking to lawyers, setting things up, working this, working that, sending over to here, the trafficking the building that he saw the trafficking coming out of, all this stuff. And even Reuben acknowledged that we need to teach more. Preachers don't want to know this stuff. They just want to go out, rebuke a homo event, rebuke an abortion, going to go home and say, attaboy, look what I did. That's the truth. That's an inconvenient truth that nobody wants to talk about. Okay? Don't gossip. There you go. See, don't gossip. Don't gossip. That's what they use, right? Gossip, divide. It's all manipulation. It's all emotional manipulation, just like the churches do, to keep you. We don't want to do that. Gossiping is something you do to try to hurt somebody, to destroy their character. You know, like John Williams is currently doing, and I'm going to prove that in 2 seconds. Or when people come to your face and lie to you like JK consistently and constantly does and cries, I love everybody. No, you don't. Everybody thinks you're a jerk. It's because of JK that Johnny Diaz isn't even preaching anymore, because he utterly humiliated the guy in public and yelled at him like he was a dog in front of everybody and his own mother. Because of that guy, he's not even preaching more, because of how he mistreated him. Sorry about that, Remnant. Okay? He's a jerk, and everybody knows it. And everybody's tiptoed around JK because he sells the shirts and he sells the banners. He's a liar. He is a liar. And I'm going to tell you that story about him. This is a guy who went to everybody at that meeting and told everybody that David Grisham and I stole banners, and then went to Florida, pretended like, oh my gosh, this must be divine providence. Pretended like he didn't know I was going to be there when it was all over the news I was coming. I go down there all the time for Pride and drag queen stuff, and pretended like he didn't know. Really? Even Alan's like, come on, bro, really? This guy stood in front of my face and said, I never said that. 4 people. Now 6 people have come to me at this point and said, JK looked him in the eyes at Reuben's funeral and said, Rich and Dave stole the banners. Every one of them is consistent. They don't talk to each other. Every one of them. This guy lied right to my face and told me I never said that, and still says it to this day. Says he called all 4 of the people that said it, but he doesn't know that I've talked to 1 or 2 of those people and they didn't hear from him about it. And he wants to lie some more. He's a liar. He can talk about how righteous he is. He talk, oh, if you're out with me, call me. He's a liar. Oh, you've never lied? You're right. We're just going to excuse somebody lying willfully and deliberately while they invoke Jesus' name because maybe I lied 10 years ago. That's right. We got to cover it up. We got to make sure we don't talk about the lying that's being done in the community, because after all, that's wicked. See what they do here, these Christians? So what? He's currently lying to you at every opportunity. When his mouth is moving, he's lying. We don't want to talk about that, because maybe you've lied before. When I used to lie, I repented of it. I didn't try to compound the lie with other lies, thus making it worse. And if your excuse is if you ever fornicated, don't you expose a fornicator because you may have fornicated, over a decade ago that you repented of. Don't do that. What? What's that for? He said, okay. And by the way, he threw his buddy, John Williams, under the bus in Florida, talking, everybody keeps associating me with John. I didn't do it. John did it. I'm not doing this. I'm guilty by association. Yeah, right. Every time you tell JK something about somebody, hey, brother so-and-so has a problem, John's calling him the next day. John Williams hasn't talked to Brian Cranford in years. But when I told JK that I talked to Brian and Brian had a problem with this video, guess who got a phone call from John Williams? And JK says, that's just coincidence. Steven out in LA got a phone call from John when they found out that, hey, he was worried about the meeting. But that was also coincidence, right? It's always coincidence. Everybody's misunderstanding what I said. And again, if you want to work with people like that, be my guest. You want to work with people who consistently lie and deny lying when they continue to lie? Be my guest. You do whatever you want. I won't work with liars. I won't work with deceivers. And I won't work with people who sit there and tell me, look me in my face, brother. I never said that about you. I never said that. On my hand to God, I never said that. When you can lie and invoke God or Jesus in your lie, you are probably gone. Seared conscience. But hey, we got to get t-shirts and banners, right? Got to get t-shirts and banners. So we got to be very careful about who we offend, who we upset. Want to make sure we don't push them away. Right? We got to be very careful. Okay? So, but I'm not. Again, I'm not walking around and tiptoeing over people's feelings because, whatever. Oh my gosh. This stuff needs to be dealt with. Sin needs to be dealt with. Does it not? Or do we just want to continue ignoring it? Again, if we can go to the Catholic churches and call them out for their ecumenicism, well, we should be able to do it too. We should be able to cleanse our own company because, again, sin in the camp is why we have half the problems we have in America today. Have you ever wondered why street preachers think about this? Now, I know they're going to get mad, but the truth is, what fruit do most people have? You can go out there and you can preach a pride event. That's a good work. But that doesn't mean you're saved. Gays Against Groomers do that. Are they saved? No. Matt Walsh does it. Is he saved? No, he's a Catholic. Shia from Lives of TikTok does it. Doesn't even believe in Jesus. So just because they do some good work doesn't mean they're saved. The proof is in the pudding. It's in the fruit. What fruit do these guys have? Let's be honest. The only fruit they have is they're trying to bite off of Reuben's fruit. They followed Reuben. So they got a taste of Reuben's fruit, and they're using Reuben's fruit to advance their own agendas and try to validate their own arguments and their own things. That's all they're doing. So what do we need today? What we need today is cleansing the temple of God's people. We need the same attitude and example of Jesus. Again, you may not like this, but again, how could you sit there and preach to churches to kick the sinners out from among themselves, to do all these things, and you're not willing to do it yourself? Instead, it's, hey, so what, these guys are lying. So what, we have brothers and sisters that are hooking up with each other. No big deal. And yes, that actually happened. So what, we have these street preacher kids watching porn. No big deal. So what, we have kids that are out there at 14 and 15 hooking up with girls and boys and their parents don't know. That's no big deal. We need a cleansing. Jesus cleansed the temple. If we're supposed to be Christ-like, then we need to do the same thing. And here's the verses right here. You can write these down. I'll leave it up here for a second for you. We absolutely, positively, 150% need to do this. Okay? 150%. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of lies from John Williams, the one who's supposedly taken over Reuben's ministry, the guy that claims he's just defending himself against me. I dare anybody to tell me anything that I've ever said about John behind his back that was not true, or anything that I said that was not in defense of the things he said about me. I know he'll say I said he took it from his blog. I never said that. Never did I say it. To be honest, I think he did, but I don't know if he did, which is why I didn't accuse him, because I don't have proof. I can't prove he did it, so I'm not going to accuse him of it. Just because I may think he did it, that's not an accusation. But I never once said he took down the blog. So if he says I did, he's a liar. He's a flat-out liar. Never said it. You're never going to find a post. You're never going to find anything where I said it. So if he says I said it, he's lying. But, you know, to some of these guys, I have to prove everything, but they don't have to, okay? But they don't have to. So here we have John, the devil's a liar, asking for $2,000. This man is saying that I lied, saying that I was trying to just get money from people to restore Ruben's blog. Here's the problem with that theory. And by the way, I sent all these text messages to John to prove to him that I've got these bids from people on developers on Upwork. Here's the proof. I sent him a text message, right here, right now. I sent it to him. So he knows very well that I did get bids for this. $1,500 bids, and then you have to tip him at the end. $2,000. That's what it is. So I sent him the text. Here it is from my phone. So he knows this is the bid. Did he take down his post? Absolutely not. He still wants to try to slander me and lie about me. Why? Because he's jealous. That's what I think. There is no reason that this guy has been lying from day one about me. Telling me telling people behind my back that Ruben was just using me. And as soon as Ruben died, he cut me. Would you like to see the text message John was sending me to work it at Ruben's funeral? Created a spreadsheet so we can, add it together and everything else. But he cut me. He's a liar. He can't even get his own story straight. He's a liar. Okay? You canceled the meeting where that was all going to go down and Ruben, JK, and I were coming to Nashville. See, that's another lie. I'm going to address that in a second here. That's another lie. I didn't cancel any meeting. There was no meeting even scheduled yet. Hey, Rich, tell your audience about how Ruben was going to part ways with you back in February 22 because your childish Spider-Man antics. No, you don't have I have text that Ruben told me you're the weaker brother. He said, you're the weaker brother. I told Ruben, if you want me to stop doing your show, I'll stop doing it. He said, no. I could show the text messages to John. Ruben wasn't going to part ways with me. But since you brought up the Spider-Man incident, let's tell everybody what you did. I took my children to go see Spider-Man. That's right. I had a fun afternoon with my children. Didn't think nothing of it. Then I get a phone call from Ruben on the way back from Vegas. Says, brother, nobody was talking about you, but John was telling me that you went to see Spider-Man. I'm like, what? He says, yes. And he said, there's cussing in it and there's sex in it. I'm like, what? I said, no, there wasn't. And I said, Ruben, is that not the very definition of gossip and backbiting? Then I find out that John was telling the Lavells, Greg Coleman, JK, all these people, Rich went and saw Spider-Man. I wasn't even there. That is the very definition of backbiting and gossip. But that's okay. Told people there's sex in it, that I took my kids to see a movie with sex in it. That's a lie. It is a flat out 150% lie that John told because he's a pharisaical douchebag. Because he's just a liar, okay? Telling people that I took my kids to go see me because I would actually do that. I'm not the guy that gives my lesbian daughter money for lip injections to make her look more attractive to other lesbians, John. Now am I? But he lied. He lied to Ruben. I have the messages. Told Ruben I said he was a Pharisee when I actually said a generality, but John took it personally because that's what people do, right? After he took it personally and he texted me, I went back at him, absolutely. But to say if Ruben wanted to part ways with me, he would have. I never repented to Ruben for anything. Ruben asked me, hey, would you sit down with John and JK in Nashville? I said, sure. Give me a date. He said, okay, I'll find a date whenever it works for everybody. Ruben called me up. He said, we could do it this day. I said, Ruben, I can't do it this day. I have a preach in Florida I can't go to. Ruben's like, well, can you cancel it? I said, no, I got people going. He's like, well, it's covered. I said, Ruben, I can't go. I set up to preach. I'm not gonna not go after I set up and people are coming. I just can't do that. And he said, well, okay, I guess not gonna be. And that was the end of it. And then John said, I'll go to Florida, work it out. And he did. And he sat down. We talked. David Grisham was there. He apologized for backbiting and gossiping and said, yes, you're right. I should have come and talked to you, not gone behind your back at an event you weren't at, and told everybody about it. That's the truth. Ask David Grisham. Asked all those that were there. Greg Coleman. That's the truth. It's a funny thing that the truth comes out, but so this isn't the first time John has acted like this. He's always been a Pharisee. He's always been a legalist. He's always been that way. If you go see a movie And you know what else is funny about John Williams? His daughter told my daughter, he sat there for 2 days looking up this logo for Spider-Man to find its demonic connections to try to make a charge against me. Because I got a tattoo of Venom on my shoulder, I don't even know, years ago. Then because I got this tattoo, he was trying to look up the demonic origins to try to say, hey, he's got a demonic tattoo on him. See? But it didn't work. Okay, so anyone says here in timeout, no. See, he lies. It's all just, But John's a liar. He's a liar back then. He's a liar now. This is a man who told people at Ruben's funeral because I broke down and I was grieving on my friend that I was emotional and started sowing those seeds at the funeral like a dirtbag. That's what he did. And believe me, I'm sure he'll give a response. Just like when he made his response saying, I never said these things, about his railing video, and then Nicholas did a video showing every lie that he told. But that's okay. But you want to follow this guy, it's fine. So I'm going to show you here. He made this post because I wanted to bring Ruben's blog back. Ruben's blog was deleted, and you can find an archive. But the problem is, now when I looked at the archive, I thought the whole blog was there. So I went to Upwork and I said, hey, who can do this job? And these are the bids that I got. So you can see here. These are all the bids that I got. Okay? Well, there's some. So, and John is very well aware of this. He's well aware of this fact that I was getting proposals because I sent it to him. Maybe he didn't know at the time when he made the post. I'll concede that point. But once he became aware of this, an honest person would apologize for the slander and take the post down. But he didn't do that. That's why I texted him. See, I know John Williams very well, and I knew for a fact that he would never take that post down. That's why I texted him to show him this, to see if he had a little ounce of integrity left, and he didn't. So here he made a post. He paid $150. Now, anybody who knows anything about tech knows that if you want to bring a blog back from the depths from 2011 to 2023, 12 years of writing, almost every week that Ruben did, it's going to cost more than $150 to pull that out, reformat it, re-put it up, and everything else. It's going to cost more than $150. The only way it would cost $150 is if you already have the content to supply to the person. The blog is gone, unfortunately. And this developer said, hey, I looked. No, that's not it. Where is it? This one here. 64 blog posts from 2011 to June 2023. I talked to a friend of mine in Minnesota who does the architecture. He did it for Blue Cross Blue Shield, did their infrastructure, and is an IT guy. And he said, yes, what the Wayback Machine did was it captured like the front page of the blog 65 times. That's it. The rest of it's gone. And this guy told me that before he did and confirmed it. So unfortunately, Ruben's blog is probably gone. If it mysteriously comes back with every post, then we know that somebody has access to it because it's gone. This developer proved it. My friend in Minnesota proved it and said the same thing when he looked at the Wayback Machine. All it was snapshots of the front page of the blog. That's it. Unfortunately, Ruben's blog is probably gone. And it's sad. Okay? It's sad. But if it does come back, we know who has it, and it will. And again, I don't know if John had it removed or not. I don't know. I do know he blamed his sisters and said his sisters accidentally might have had it deleted, but that's not true at all. Ruben's email address, Earthling, was hooked up to the blog. And because they stopped paying for the email address, which, by the way, Alan Inez called to find out about and then reported back to John, because that's what he does. He put it out there and said, oh, they might have inadvertently deleted with that. Well, that's not the case. So Blogger is owned by Google. And Blogger doesn't delete a blog because the email address associated with it is gone. Now, if you had a Google account attached to it and the entire Google account was deleted, that's another story. So it's not true. Plus, the blog went down well after the email address was canceled. We knew about that at Ruben's funeral when I sat down with his sister. So again, I can't say he's lying there. He just probably doesn't know what he's talking about. But trying to throw it on Ruben's sisters to say whatever is ridiculous. But here we just proved already 2 lies from John, one from 2 years ago and one from just now, where he tried to slander me. Now, by the way, slandering somebody is a sin, is it not? Should I just pretend like he didn't do this? Should I pretend? I mean, after all, he did lie. He did get the text message showing that I did get these bids for this. And by the way, my friend in IT told me as an American that if the blog was all there intact and to get everything back and format and bring it up, he would charge me as a friend $1,800 to do it. At $25 an hour, 72 hours, $1,800. Anybody who knows anything about web design or tech knows you're not getting 12 years worth of content reformatted and re-uploaded for $150. Everybody knows that. So if he did pay $150, he either got taken for a ride and all it's going to come back is the 65 things of the first page, or he already has the content and is going to give it to the guy, which will prove that he did have it. Okay? So there we have that lie. Now, unequivocally, we've proven John Williams is a liar. Okay, now he's going to cry foul and say, no. Ruben wanted to part ways with you. If Ruben wanted to part ways, he would have done it. I told Ruben that I would leave if it was, and it comes down to this, because Ruben was worried that the whole thing would cause a big split. And it started to, believe it or not. People were walking saying, this is ridiculous. Okay? If Ruben wanted to part ways with me, he would have. And Ruben, you know what Ruben said? Ruben said to me, I watch rated R movies. I watch war movies. I enjoy war movies. You know what they do in war movies? They curse. But I don't go posting about it. So because John's the weaker brother, just don't post about it when you take kids and movies on Facebook. I said, okay. Now, anybody that knows Ruben knows, is that something Ruben would say? Seems like, and I mean, if I really had to dig up the messages from over a year ago on my phone, I can. Okay, and I told him, if you don't want me doing your show anymore, just let me know, and I'll hand it over to somebody else. He didn't say no. We continued to do the show, no problem. John came down to Florida. We shook hands. I thought everything was okay. Said he was going to call me every week, make sure we're on good terms, which he never did that either, by the way. You know what's amazing, too, is you know why John was mad at me to begin with? He said he harbored resentment because his son was watching my videos, and because I forgot to say, you'll go to hell if you play Dungeons & Dragons. Because I forgot to say it one night, he resented me for that. Because his son apparently valued what I said more than his own father. Which also brings the question, how can a guy run a ministry or a church when his own family doesn't want nothing to do with him? You know what's funny, too? He actually lied to Ruben and tried to convince Ruben that his daughter, he was a single dad, daughter living at home when his daughter left almost, a year and a half ago, something like that? At 4 o'clock, left him a letter. She was talking to Brielle, but, Daddy put the kibosh on that. She wasn't allowed to talk to Brielle anymore because she was telling Brielle everything. How bad of a father he was, how she's resenting him because of things he's doing in that. That's what she said. His house is completely out of order. Now, the Bible says a man has to have his house in order and must rule his house well if he wants to be a leader, right? Well, doesn't that disqualify him? And don't think we didn't bring this up at the funeral. We absolutely did. And certain brothers wanted to ignore the verse. This is a man whose family is completely out of order. Has no business and lies. Lies through his teeth. Even when he's given proof, hey, brother, hey, guy, what you said is not true. He still kept up. Now he's willfully, deliberately lying and deceiving people. You want to work with a guy like that? You want to follow a guy like that in a battle? Good luck. Now we'll go into, let's watch Ruben's video again before we go to the next part. Here, let's see Ruben again.
First of all, I was on that list. And like Paul Harvey would say, and now the rest of the story. Our President Trump calls the media the fake news. And there's a reason why. Whoever did the editing for you, brother, is a devil.
Cherry pick.
Whoever did the editing for you is a devil. I said the word, S word, but I said it in its context. I was quoting from an Old Testament.
Okay, so Ruben says whoever takes a clip, edits it, frames an error in it, is a devil. Those are the words of Ruben Israel himself. Well, let's see what John Williams did. Fun fact, Ruben and I agreed with Webster's definition of sodomy. To clarify, we agreed that oral and anal sex is sodomy. Never ever trust a pervert that publicly boasts about partaking in sodomy. I remember back in 2016, we had a friendly men's meeting discussing the issue of sodomy at Mardi Gras. Ruben and I agreed that oral sex is sodomy. I remember Ruben making a comment about the vileness of putting your mouth where someone urinated. See attached video for Exhibit A. A student calls the preacher P-U-S-S-Y and rich as I am what I eat. The guy is disgusting swine, has the same sodomite heart and spirit of the drag queens he's continuously exposing. If you're in alliance with this guy, you're deceived. The Bible now says, Proverbs 19:9, a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaks lies shall perish. Did I really go bragging about that because I made one comment to try to bring the temperature down in a preach? Isn't it something all preachers have done? I could have sworn it's something Ruben taught, that when it's getting amped up, it's getting heated, bam, say a joke, lighten the mood, and that's exactly what it did. So here's what he says. He says, I was bragging about sodomy. That's a lie. I wasn't bragging about it. I cracked a joke, and I didn't even think about it again until he went through the videos, of course, looked for something to go, aha, I got him. Doing exactly what Ruben says devils do. But hey, you know, he's taking over Ruben's ministry, even though he's doing the exact opposite of what Ruben's ministry is. But since we want to bring this up, because I've gotten several phone calls from brothers and sisters who are very upset about this. And by the way, John, you lost another SOPA guy because of this, so kudos to you, pal. So I want to share some with you guys here. Where is it? So they said that sodomy, they used the Webster's dictionary for sodomy, right? That's what they said. And where is these other posts? Hold on. I got more pictures, and for some reason they're not coming up. And by the way, I'm just getting started here tonight because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be said. And like I said, I fully expect a lot of these guys to completely disown me after this, and I don't care. Don't care. You think that you think you can make a slander video against me, it's going to bother me or affect me? Look, there's been 2 or 3 guys that have been doing that for years, and it accomplished nothing. So go right ahead. Become them. I don't care. All you're going to do is prove my point even more. You're going to become the very thing Ruben hated. But hey, you're taking over his ministry, right? Come on. All right, I got to find one more. Okay, I think I have it. So they agree on this. Here's the problem with that, okay? Wait. I'm missing one. I just got to put it up here because I want you guys to see the full context of everything. Nothing hidden, everything out there, so you know and understand. Because other people have been hurt by John's post. People call me up literally upset about it, saying, did he really say this? Is this what it is? Oh my gosh, is he saying that we're going to hell, that we're sodomites now? Now this again proves that a lot of street preachers are completely uneducated. Just because they can rebuke a pride event doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. And I've learned over the past month that a lot of these guys don't know anything about their Bibles. They literally just kind of make things up and, say what they want out of their own opinions. So you saw the post where he basically took a clip, said I was bragging about sodomy, which, by the way, he's bearing false witness. So let's look at the Webster's Dictionary what sodomy is, shall we? Here's the Webster's Dictionary for sodomy. Anal or oral copulation with another person, especially anal or copulation with a member of the same sex. Did John accuse me of being a homosexual? Copulation with an animal. The word sodomy has a long history of use in reference to culturally stigmatized sex acts. And by the way, the word sodomy didn't exist until 395 AD, and it existed, and it was always primarily used to discuss male-on-male sex acts. Always. Okay? But since they want to use Webster's Dictionary as a source for truth, let's see what Webster's Dictionary says about gender. So Webster's Dictionary, the very same dictionary, and you can check this for yourself, that says sodomy is that, also says that gender is a subclass within a grammatical class, such as noun, pronoun, adjective, verb, of a language that is partly arbitrary, but also partly based on distinguishable characteristics such as shape or social rank, manner of existence, or sex, and that determines agreement with and selection of other words or grammatical forms. So should we accept the Webster's Dictionary of what gender is? Or no? Or do we pick and choose? Because if we go to 1828's Dictionary of Sodomy, it just says a crime against nature. So which Webster's Dictionary do we use? A crime against nature, or do we use the other one? And if you're going to use the newer Webster's Dictionary for your source to define words, then I guess you agree with the transgender movement that gender is a social construct. Or do you not agree with Webster's Dictionary on that one? You just agree with the definition of the word because it fits your narrative. Okay? Now, again, I'm not arguing for or against it. What people do in their marriage beds is their own business. I don't want to know what you do in your marriage bed. It's none of my business. But you see, guys like John want to regulate your speech and tell you what you can and can't say. Now I want to sit in your bedroom and say, you better not do that. You better not do that. This is a guy. And by the way, it's perverts that are constantly thinking about what goes on in people's bedrooms. But again, I want to reiterate. When you ask somebody to prove it biblically, they give you Webster's Dictionary. Well, that's fine. Okay, if you use Webster's Dictionary for this word here, then you better agree to its definition in this word here. If your argument is, well, they change definitions, you're right, they do. And they change the definition back here because the 1828 definition of gender is also sex. I don't know what I did with that screenshot, but it's here. So again, we have a guy now who's a leader doing the exact opposite, proven liar, who's picking and choosing which definitions he wants to agree with and don't agree with based upon their narrative and their biases and their personal convictions, and they want to make you adhere to them. Whether you agree with it or not, it's not my business. Again, I'm not saying whether it's okay or not okay. But I will say this, though. If you read the Song of Solomon, there are 2 verses in the Song of Solomon which would indicate that he was performing oral sex on his wife, and his wife was performing oral sex on him. Or maybe you just don't agree with that and you want to interpret it another way. But either which way, I'm not getting into the whole thing on this video because I don't want to, get into that publicly and all that and talk about that. If you want to have a private conversation about that, we can. I don't believe that that's public when there are certain people, age groups that watch our videos, and I don't need to go into graphic detail about that. But again, show me Bible or shut up. Does the Bible say it? So John now has falsely accused me of being a sodomite, said I'm bragging about it because I cracked a joke. Well, every time I'm going to go back and look, and I guarantee you I've heard John say some things like that in his past. I guess he was a sodomite too. Oh, wait, no, he repented of that. I forgot. So now we have the guy falsely accusing people based upon a modern definition of a word that, hey, if I'm going to judge people the way that they judge me, then John agrees, and all those people agree that gender is a social construct, right? Because that's what the modern Webster's Dictionary says. But for some reason, I can't find the screenshot. So let me just put it up here so nobody could say, well, see, he didn't show the gender one in 1828. Webster's Dictionary. And I know people are going to say, look at rpenkoski, he's advocating for sodomy. That's what they'll say. Right? I guarantee you're going to see videos popping up that say that. I'm willing to bet my life on it. That's what they'll say. But they never go to the source. And Ruben said that gender, okay? Here is the 1828 dictionary for gender, since I can't seem to find the screenshot, so you guys can see it here. Properly kind sort, a sex, male or female. That is the 1828 definition, which defines sodomy as a crime against nature. So again, I ask, if you're going to accuse somebody on something, and your only source is the modern Webster's Dictionary, and that's where you're getting from to make an accusation, then I'm going to accuse you of being pro-transgender and agreeing that gender is not related to sex, because Webster's Dictionary says it is arbitrary based upon looks and social status, things like that. Or are you going to say, no, I don't agree with that, but you agree with Noah Webster's modern dictionary on that word? So again, now we have picking and choosing, right? These are guys that teach and they look for things to back up their biases. They're not fit to lead. They don't know what they're talking about. Instead, they're hurting people, okay? I got a phone call from a guy who was very, very upset about this. Several phone calls saying, he's saying I'm going to hell. I said, well, I'm not saying, I don't want to know. But I want to show you a Bible. here we go. Sorry about that. So here we have here, God hates people who sow discord and bear false witness. He hates them. He falsely called me a sodomite and said I bragged about doing something because I cracked a joke at a preach, which every single street preacher has done. Whatever joke to lighten the mood. Everybody has done it. Whether it's that specific one, no. But to sit there and say I was sitting there bragging about it because I cracked one joke to lighten the mood is a complete false narrative. It's a lie. It's the sowing division. It's to say, aha, I got you. I got this clip. Bam, there it is. That's who you want to follow? Hey, go right ahead. I know a lot of you guys don't care and want to ignore stuff like this, but be my guest. But here's my prediction. I guarantee you John's going to try to say that Reuben wanted to part ways with me and then he saved the day. That's what he'll do. But do we really think that Reuben was that kind? I mean, because what John is trying to do is he's trying to make it, remember, he said Reuben personally repented to him for using the words slut, fag, and retard, and things like that. There's no evidence that Reuben repented of it. There's no writings that said it. There's no blog post. There's no video. Matter of fact, New Year's Eve, he called somebody a fag twice. But John says he personally repented to him. Because what John is trying to do is he's trying to make it look like he was Reuben's spiritual advisor, that he has this knowledge and gave it to Reuben, and that Reuben was agreeing with John. The problem is that that's just simply not who Reuben was. Reuben was a smart guy who knew his Bible, and nobody could coerce him one way or the other. Okay? But Reuben said John was a weaker brother. Just don't post about it so it doesn't cause these issues. I said, okay, no problem. And that was the end of it, as far as I knew, but apparently not. I always greeted John after that, so I'm, hey, how you doing? We always shook his hand, hugged him, no problem. Now, you can ask David Grisham that. I always felt like, there's still something there. I still think he has a problem with me. And Dave would say, no, man, you guys worked it out, it's fine. You guys are, I'm like, it feels like there's still something wrong. And I was apparently right. Because the minute Reuben died, boy, man, he was on it. And here's the thing. They want Reuben's platform. They can't get one of their own. Nobody wants, the only reason anybody even knows who John Williams or JK or any of these guys are is because they followed Reuben. If they weren't working Reuben, you would never know who these guys are because they have no fruit. They have nothing. Look at that. We went to an event and preached. That's great. I wish more people would. But just going out preaching doesn't mean a damn thing. It doesn't mean you're saved. There are lots of Catholics that go out there and do it. Gays Against Groomer will stand against there. They're Proud Boys. Some of them are saved, but most of them are not. But they'll go out there and stand against it. That doesn't mean you're saved. It just means you stood out there and rebuked it and did a good work. But we're not saved by good works. Good works are evidence of salvation, but not the only evidence. So we need to remember that. Okay? Because without Reuben, these guys are nothing. And that's the truth. You may not like it. You may not agree with it, but that's the truth. Think about it. Would you know who these guys were if you did not meet them with Reuben Israel? Would you know who any of them were? And I know they'll say the same thing to me, but here's the problem with that theory. You see, I met John in Kentucky during Muslim Day. And we went out to eat, and he goes, oh, you're that guy that's shutting down the drag queen. Would you mind speaking at SOPA, telling everybody how you did it? And I said, sure. What's SOPA? He told me what it was. And then it was a couple people in Tennessee, I can't remember which one, so I don't want to say the name, that said, oh, you don't want to go to SOPA. It never works out. And they sent me that video of the railing words debate, which, by the way, was just ridiculous. I can't remember who sent it to me, though, so I don't want to make any accusations unless I'm sure. But this is the truth. And again, you guys want to follow. And again, these are all little things. And Rich, you can't say this. You can't say this, right? Because after all, we want unity. Well, you can unify with each other, but that's why none of you really have anything going for you. You care more about the actual preaching than you do about why you're preaching in the first place. Not everybody, so don't take it personally if it's not you. But it's the truth. It is the 150% true. Again, there are people in the street preacher community who know that my oldest two daughters were abused by their mother. And when they confessed it to one of their friends, he said, I wish I was your mother. This is what the kids of street preachers said. And you know what mommy and daddy said? I'm just going to chalk that up to kid stuff. The same kids were watching porn. It's not a big. He was watching, and it wasn't really porn. He was just curious about men who in bodies. Bullcrap. He told my daughter he's watching porn. But, we're just going to chalk up the kid stuff because we don't want to admit that maybe it's a problem in our home because that would mean we'd have to take time off from preaching and deal with our families. Speaking of which, next up we have Alan Inez. Wow. This guy has been rebuked by two brothers privately, didn't repent, and I was given the go-ahead to give it publicly. This is a guy whose wife pays the bills. A guy whose own kids, from what I understand, his daughter, is palling around with fornicators and starting to dress like them. And when he was told that, hey, you need to concentrate on your family, they're going to hell, his words were, if they want to go to hell, I can't stop them. I need to go preach. And makes his wife work to pay the bills so he can preach. The same guy we got the Airbnb for in Los Angeles who told us, I'll pay when I get home, and didn't pay us until I said something to VJ about him stiffing us for the bill. Then he sent Dave Grisham his part of the money. But, he's a good guy to go preach with, too. His family's in order. And he, is not a man of his word. But, hey, he's working with John, so, they're validated. And then you have the oneness guys. The oneness guys. The antichrists who have infiltrated their way in and nobody wants to call them on it. Because we're friends with Quincy. Because we're friends with, these other guys. Let me tell you something so retarded, okay? John Williams is validating a oneness heretic and a witch. Let me show you. Regarding Ruben's blog, after several texts from David Grisham yesterday, I was made aware of the issue. I then contacted several developers overseas last night to see what they could do about saving Ruben's blog. I went with one whose name is not Muhammad, LOL. I contracted with one of them to restore Ruben's blog from 2008 to the present. Again, go look at the Wayback Machine for yourself. It's not all there, only the front pages. So if all the content comes back from that, it's because John had it. Which means he was one of, if that's what happens. I don't know if it is or not. We'll see. Since we don't have access to the old blog, we have to start a new blog and point it there. The contractor will upload all the old posts in the archives to the new blog. And there's only 64, which I showed the developer. And my friend out in Minnesota, the IT guy, said the snapshot only took the front page. That's it. If everything else comes back, it's because somebody else had it. It's not rocket science. Probably could have done it myself. And he's making it Reuben Israel founded by believers. Do you know how many messages I got saying they are deathly afraid that if that content, if John does have it, how he's going to edit it and change it, that they don't want to even see more if he has control of it? Good guy, though. But here's the kicker. You guys are going to love this. If anyone wants to be on the communication with this developer, please contact me privately. I believe also a brother from Ghana had a dream regarding this matter. Emmanuel, Jesus, whatever. Lastly, it appears Reuben's sister Mary was most likely accidentally the one who caused the blog to be removed. She was in contact with Blogspot, which is not true at all. She didn't even know about the blog. Had no clue about Blogspot or Blogger. And it's Blogger, not Blogspot. Didn't even know. It's a lie. See, Alan called Eduardo, who said, oh, she canceled the credit card for the email, and he reported back to John, and voila. But it's not true. And I'm not saying John's lying here. He probably just doesn't know. But either which way, it's not true. Mary must have been his family accidentally did it. No, it wasn't. But again, if every post, every blog, every comment comes back from 2011, then we know he has the content. And it would strongly indicate that he's the one who had it removed. If it's not just the snapshots like what the archive is showing, go check it for yourselves and see. Now, I put this verse here, Jeremiah 9. Guard yourselves, each one against his own companions, and put your trust in no brother at all. For every brother would positively supplant, and every companion himself would walk around as a mere slanderer. And they keep trifling each one of his companion, and they speak, can't read that, I'm sorry, they have taught their tongue to speak falsehood. They have tried themselves out. Now again, he is this oneness heretic, which the Bible says in 2 John, these are antichrist. He's saying he had a dream. Would you like to see what the dream was? Would you like to see it? Here's the dream that he had. They made me think Brother John deleted the blog of Reuben. No, we didn't. We said who had access to it and who would want it gone. Those are the questions you have to ask. If you assume it was John, then you're thinking like the rest of us. Not because he made you think that way. It's logical. We can't prove it. I'm not saying he did it because I don't know. My personal opinion is that he did, but I can't prove it, so I'm not saying he did. I want to make that clear so he can't lie again and say that I said that. But he probably will. Just this morning, I dreamt about Brother Reuben. Now remember, Emmanuel here is a oneness heretic, which the Bible says these are guys that say Jesus Christ is the Father, that they deny that the Son came in the flesh. Okay? So here's his dream. Reuben sat with me when no one else saw him. I'll be honest, I asked him, did he give the password to Brother John Williams, and was surprised that he denied that. So now we have Reuben Israel visiting people in their dreams to tell them, no, we didn't give John the password. And John is saying, this is, I'm sorry. When I woke up this morning, I thought I was deceived in the dream, so I was contemplating. Someone should message me and tell me something. So Reuben appeared to this oneness heretic, this antichrist in a dream and said, nope, John didn't do it. And John took that and says, see, even this guy had a dream. He's not even a Christian. But now we're saying that Reuben is appearing to people in their dreams? And this is what passes for Christianity today? Yes, he's oneness. Yes, he's communicated figures. And John is going, ooh, he had a dream. Let me post that, because everything is trying to make himself feel validated. Just like he had a dream, right? That Reuben was in heaven. You see, we watch this video. We didn't need a dream to confirm that Reuben was in heaven. I knew Brother Reuben was in heaven. I didn't need a dream to tell me. Everything these guys doing is, I had a dream, and they hope that you're stupid enough to buy into this garbage. And unfortunately, some of you will just ignore it. Just like you ignore the oneness. Frank Long, look at this guy. Frank Long is a guy 6 months prior to Reuben dying, was talking smack about Reuben, was slandering him, was trying to cause division with people that were working with Reuben. He was trying to get Kaylee and Phil not to work with Reuben. Now he's in love with Reuben. This guy is going to go to SOPA. He's another oneness heretic who hated Reuben 6 months before he died. But now he's going to go to the Reuben Israel Memorial? This is insane. So you have people that are now conjuring up familiar spirits in their dreams, and John going, yep, it must be true. This is witchcraft. Unless you believe that Reuben's going to appear to people in their dreams. Do we believe that? Is that where we are now as Christians? Are we there now? Has been restored. I'm an expert from Bangladesh. Restored. Don't get rich 2K so you can pocket your gas. See, there's the lie again, right? Johnny Williams Jr., there he is lying again. Even though on this very video that he's lying about, I showed the video. And all Reuben's blogs are posted. That means John had the content. You guys can go see the archive for yourself. I'll post the link soon. An expert from Bangladesh restored it for $150. Don't get rich 2K so you can pocket your cash. Man, it's funny because I took the post down because it can't be restored. It's just lies. See how the guy just lies through his teeth? You guys were on this video. John was watching. He saw the screenshot showing the bids I got, and I took it down because, again, it can't be restored. It can't be restored. Like I said, if every post gets restored, that means that John had the content. Okay, I had a guy from America in Minnesota. He looked at the archive and said it was only snapshots, 64. And I showed you the guy who showed it to me from the archive too. Like I said, if all of it comes back, that means that John has the content. Go look for the archive yourself. Just type in, I think it's, go on Google, type in Wayback Machine, put the URL in, officialstreetpreachers.blogspot.com, and you'll see the calendar. Pick a date, pick a screen, and you'll see what's there. The whole blog isn't there. There's 65 screen captures of the blog. That's it. So if all of it comes back, that means that he had access to it, and it does validate, or at least it strongly does lean that he's wanted it removed. But to sit there and say that, you know, I'm trying to take money from people, and they always do that, by the way. These guys always do that. They always try to do that because, again, they know that people don't like to give money. They don't like to, so they always want to trash you that way to try to make it look like something else. But I do want to reiterate once again that he lied. He lied because he saw the video here. He saw the bids that I got. He lied. Not like anything else there, whatever. He flat out lied. And is still continuing to lie even after he saw the truth. Still lying. But, you know, good guy. Good guy who we should all follow and, agree that he, is someone to be trusted. Right? Even after showing the truth, still lies. If you want to follow a guy like that, that's fine. But this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Now, this whole thing with oneness, this is another problem. That we're just ignoring the fact that oneness, these are people that believe that Jesus Christ, I mean, Quincy posted a picture of a monkey with 3 heads today and said that that's the God we believe in. That is complete blasphemy. But you guys don't care. He'll be at SOPA. He'll still work with John. John will still work with him. No problem. Because when you're desperate followers, you want to compromise to have those guys there. Oneness followers believe that don't believe in the pre-existence of Jesus Christ because they believe that God the Father is Jesus. So when you say things like when a Mormon tells you they believe that Jesus is Son of God, they do believe that. And you go, oh, okay. But when you find out that Mormons believe that Jesus is the literal Son of God and his wife and Satan's brother, well, now you know you're dealing with a different Jesus. It's the same thing with the oneness. Okay? That's the truth. I mean, the oneness is heresy. It's always been heresy from way back in the deception when Sibelius is the one who started it. You know, and these guys will sit there, they're Catholic. Well, the Catholics also believe in the virgin birth. So does that mean we're going to discount and throw out the virgin birth because the Catholics believe in it? It's a straw man argument they're using to appeal to emotionalism. Bring me on the show. Let's chat. I'm available now. Let's be transparent. I am transparent. You're the one who's a liar. You literally, if that's really you, and I doubt, I don't know if that's really John or not. I don't know. John does not have a history of making fake accounts like some other guys do. If that is you, why would I want to bring you on and literally when you're out here, if it's you, calling me a liar again after I just showed the truth? KJV cultists don't usually yoke up with oneness heretics. Well, usually not. But they are in this case, because when you're desperate to have a following, they try to say, see. So we have that. Now we have an issue that I need to bring up. I've been working with Jim Gillis for the past year. Let me tell you about Jim Gillis. This is a brother who didn't know me from Adams. He knew me maybe from preaching at Reuben. You know, it wasn't a big secret that I was pretty close at Reuben. I did his show, preaching him all the time. Not a big secret. But when I moved to Oklahoma, I preached at Jim the first time last year at Basel Pride. He came out there, stood with us, went out to eat with him. Great fellowship, good brother, solid preaching, no issue. Then the whole, restraining thing order happened, and I went to go interview lawyers. And Jim drove out there. Didn't have to. I mean, he wasn't the one who had a restraining order. He didn't, whatever. But he wanted to make sure when I talked to lawyers that I asked the right questions about this and make sure I picked a good lawyer. So he drove with his own time, his own money, met me out there, and it's over an hour drive for him, to go with me to interview attorneys and ask questions. That's what he did. He also came to court with me and testified. Again, driving an hour, using his time and money. Now, I know it's been said that Reuben didn't want nothing to do with him. Well, the only thing Reuben ever said to me about Jim Gillis was that he was happy to see Jim preaching with us and have Jim give him a call if he wants. And that was before Reuben passed away. I relayed that message to Jim, and Dave Grisham heard it as well. You can ask him. So if there was an issue between the two of them, they were at least going to try to work it out prior to them whatever the issues were. So apparently that is John Williams. He just texted me. So this guy wants to bring him on, even though he slandered me in the very video I showed that I wasn't lying. Why would I ever do that? Why would I ever? I mean, give me an honest, if you can give me a good reason why I should, I will gladly do it. But why would I bring somebody on here who posts about me, lies, calls me a sodomite, does the exact opposite of what Ruben says, and yet you want me to put you on or be transparent? I have been transparent. You are not. All you're going to do is come here and do this and lie like you have been. It's like the reason why I won't call JK back. Why am I going to call him back knowing he's going to lie to me and let him sin? I know he's going to lie. So I'm not going to pick up the phone and let him lie to me some more. That would enable him to sin, and I'm not going to enable that. Everybody always wants to bring me on, bring me on. I'm giving screenshots. I'm giving proof, and all you have is, well, you know, I said. And I know he still has my number not blocked because he just texted me, so he saw the screenshots of those bids I got. Okay, he saw the screenshots I got, so he didn't take it down. So he lied. He's still lying. I'll tell you what, John. I'll do this because I know you're watching. Here's what I'll do. To be fair with you, and not that I really care at this point, but I'll tell you what. If you're truly interested in dialoguing and truth, after seeing what you saw here tonight, let's see if you take down your slander post against me, knowing that what you said was not true. Let's see if you'd be willing to do that. And if you will, then we can discuss doing a show together in the future to discuss all the issues. I will have no problem doing that. But let's see how much integrity you have before I do that. Sound fair to you? But here's the thing with Jim now. Let me go on before I get distracted again. So I've been hearing a lot of stuff because a lot of people have been coming at me. A lot of people call me people I didn't know, you know, oh, this, that, and the other. And I've heard a couple of things. And again, I've looked at some videos, and I just want to say this because there's some people that have issues with Jim over the years because Jim is very transparent and he puts everything public. And he asks questions publicly and asks for answers publicly. It was said, now again, I wasn't there, but I'm going to put it out there because it needs to be said because me personally, I don't want to work with somebody who's going to stab me in the back or put me at risk without me knowing it. So apparently a few years ago, I guess they were at a preach or something. I guess a woman got pepper sprayed. And unfortunately, Alan Puckett went to jail for it. And John Williams didn't step up and say it was me. Instead, Alan sat in jail, had to get a lawyer, do all that thing there. And the whole idea was, well, he took one for the team. I'm all for taking one for the team. I'll take a bullet for any one of my brothers and sisters out there. But if somebody's going to do something like that, then I'd like to be a willing participant. Why would I take those posts down when you lied to Cranford saying within 2 days you take down the 6-7 videos you took down the Railer post? I didn't lie to Brian Cranford. I told him I didn't want to take it down. And then Brian called me up and said, do what you want. See, John, it's funny because you took your video down after you swore up and down the Holy Ghost told you to make the video and then took it down. So I guess it wasn't the Holy Ghost. Why would you take down your post what you lied about me, like admittedly lied, like actually slandering me? And you wonder why I won't bring you on my video with me? When you just admitted to me, I'll show you the text message. Why would I take down, here's what he says, take down the videos where he lied about me. Take down his post where he lied about me. Because I won't take down my post exposing the railing video. No, I said I would think about it. And I said, you know, but you didn't take it down either. You took it down after the fact. So I don't have to. You lied to Brian Cranford and said Ruben was only using me. And then when Brian called you publicly, you said, I didn't say that. Thus calling Brian Cranford. Everybody's a liar but you guys, right? So in other words, is what you're saying is you know your post is a lie. And you're going to leave it up there because I won't take my videos down about you. Perfect. Now you know who John Williams is. He knows he's lying. He knows it's not true. I actually, go on my YouTube. I took the post down for the blog because it can't come back. It's impossible. The whole thing is gone. Go in the archive, see for yourself. It's gone. So this is a guy who says, I'm not going to take it down unless you give me what I want. I don't give in to terrorists or slanderers. I'm not you guys. I'm not willing to compromise for the sake of unity. You want to be transparent? Look, if you're a Christian, what I do is irrelevant. If you post something that's a lie, you should take it down if it's a lie, regardless of what I do or what I say. A Christian would say, hey, you know what? This isn't true. Let me take it down. But nope, can't do that. So we now know where he is. And again, make your posts, make your videos. Doesn't matter. Who cares? You can lie about me. Believe me, I'm used to it. Just like Ruben, I have people that make videos of me all the time that lie about me. It doesn't affect me one bit. Because while you guys are sitting there worried about this stuff, we're doing real things. But anyway, back to the Jim Gillis thing. So for me, if somebody's in danger and you pepper spray them to stop the danger, I'm great. I think it's awesome. We should do that to protect life from everything else. But why wouldn't John step up and say, hey, I'm the one who did it so that Alan didn't have to sit in jail? If somebody's life was truly in danger, why not say, hey, I did this because she was going to kill him or hurt somebody? If your actions are so righteous, you'd have no problem. Now me, again, if you willingly do that, that's on you. But you need to be a willing participant. And for me, I don't want somebody that's not going to be willingly, that's going to stick me in a situation unknowing and say, hey, man, you take the bullet for me on this one. I don't want to go to jail. And the excuse is, well, he didn't get convicted of it. What if he did? Do you guys want to work with people that do stuff like that? I don't. I don't want to work with people like that to say, hey, if you do something wrong, I'm going to go to jail for what you do. I got a wife and children at home. I'm not going to jail for something I didn't do. For somebody, hey, look, I'll take a bullet for you. Sure. But that's what we're supposed to do. But I'm not going to, because you do something stupid, me go to jail for your stupid actions unless I agree to do that. If I agree to do it, hey, you know what? It's on me. But I'm not going to go to jail for people for something I didn't do. But all this backbiting nonsense that we see in this community of people, I mean, you have no idea the amount of things that people talk about. And again, I assume that almost everybody there is going to walk away from me. That's fine. Like I said, none of them did anything with that Ruben. None of them. You want to talk about being transparent. When I say, hey, a developer told me $2,000 to bring the blog back, I put it up, show the pictures of it, that's the truth. When you say, nope, we're just trying to take your money, you're lying, and you're bearing false witness. Okay? That's the truth. And the fact is, I'm not taking it down because you won't take your videos down about me. If you're a born-again believer and you post something to slander somebody knowing it's a lie, it doesn't matter. There should be no conditions attached to it. If I say something and I find out later on that it's not true, I'm taking it down regardless. I'm not going to say, well, you know what? You do this and I'll take it down. No. There's no conditions attached to the truth. It comes down because it's a lie. It's not true. And I really don't care because, you know, it's not going to affect me anyway. No, thanks, John, because you're not going to get the whole blog. You're going to give him the content. If the whole blog comes back, we can see the archive. We can actually, you know what? I can do a screen capture. And we can see the whole blog isn't there. Matter of fact, let me go get it and I'll put the link here so you guys can see for yourself. There's 65 pages. That's all there is. Screen captures. But again, when you put conditions attached to the truth, you know you're not bringing the Holy Ghost. Okay? You guys want me to do a screen capture of this? Because maybe you guys never seen that. Let me do a screen capture. You guys have never seen that before. Hold on. Let me see how this works. Screen, nope. Is that it? Screen capture, yeah, okay. So I'm, Wirecast would like to record this computer screen and audio. Grant access in the application and privacy security settings. Okay. Wirecast, turn on. Okay. Use password. Man. Boy, Apple really, they make you go through hoops to do this stuff, man. 16 through 19. Okay. Wirecast may not be able to record the content of your screen until it is quit. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so let me try this again. Doing the screen capture. If I can't do it tonight, you guys, I'm sorry. Apparently I got to give it the settings, and it's telling me I might have to quit, but we'll find out in a second here. So let's take a look. Screen capture. Okay, new screen capture. Oh, I got it. Okay, great. All right, let me put the audio in here so you guys can see, and we'll go take a look. Okay. All right, so there's my screen. Let's go here. Okay, so let's type in here. Official street preachers.blogspot.com. Okay. So here's the archive. Now, saved 64 times between July 2011 and June 4th, 2023. So when you go through here, you'll see these little lines here. These are the dates it was captured. You'll see here in red, in these little letters here. So the last capture date, obviously, because Ruben's not with us anymore, was June 4th. So let's click it. Okay, go here, one snapshot. So you go on here, and okay. So this is what you get in the Wayback Machine, right? This is the front page. Now, I saw this, I'm like, oh, awesome, it's all still there. But this is all you get. Actually, let me fix this thing here, you guys. You're not getting a whole screen. I want you guys to get the whole screen here, so. Okay, there we go, sorry. So I was like, this is great. We're going to get it all back. So that's the Cincinnati thing, the men's conference there, right? And it looks like it's great. You go back, go all, oops, why is this not working? Okay, go all the way down to the bottom here. And you have Ruben's information here. Now, the very first one that Ruben has here, so this is dealing with, this is when we were in SatanCon, we did this. So it only went back this far, okay? That's all there is here. And I'm showing you this because I want you to see for yourself that the blog is gone. So we have this here. So this is the latest one to capture the front page, okay? So let's go back, let's go 2014. And there's nothing here. This is the first time I'm checking this. Okay, here we go, 2015, here's this. So let's go 2015 here. We have this one here. Can you spot the two street preacher on Bourbon Street? So we have this here. Okay, this is a screen capture of only the front page, not the whole blog. So this is February 11, 2015. Right? And you scroll all the way down here. Let's go to the bottom and see what the first one here is. That's it. So this one is only I don't know who those guys are. But this one is one blog post. That's it. Of the whole year, that's all they got. I'm sorry, 2. January. So we got 2. What? Ew. 3. So we got 4 posts for the entire. Well, let me just rephrase of that, whatever that one was. So where are we on that one? So let's go January 2016. So we're only getting screen captures of the front page of the blog. We're not getting everything, unfortunately. Okay. Okay. So John just texted me, we have a heart for reconciliation. If you had a heart for reconciliation, John, you wouldn't lie and then say, well, if you do this, I'll take the lying post down. You don't have a heart for reconciliation. The truth is, I know why you took it down. I heard the whole story. Adam LaCroix got involved, everything else. When Brian Cranford asked you to sit down with me and David Grisham, you said no. You said no. You said no. So don't tell me you have a heart for reconciliation. You're full of crap. If you had a heart for reconciliation, you would have not lied about me to begin with. You and JK wouldn't have gone behind my back, lying about me, telling people that I'm emotional because I was grieving over Ruben, telling people that I tried to start trouble at the funeral. Now, this one's not on you, but JK telling people that David and I stole the banners and then lying about it, and you're going to be okay with that? That one's not on you. But you're going to be, I mean, seriously, you have a heart for reconciliation. You've done nothing but trash talk me, and then you tell people that I'm doing it to you? I kept my mouth shut during the whole railing thing because I didn't want to say anything until Ruben's funeral. I didn't want to address it. I didn't want to say nothing. And I even told you that. I am not in any way, shape, or form involved in calling anybody or telling anybody anything about it. They called me, and I told you that. Many, many times I told you that. Okay? That's what I said to you. Then you tell Brian Craven, Ruben, you cut me, whatever. That's not true, and you know it's not true. That's a lie. Because Ruben's used me and then try to turn and say, that's not what I meant. I have no doubt Ruben loved you. That's not what you told Brian Cranford. So, again, I would love to believe you. I really would. But there's just too many inconsistencies and things change too much. If you had a heart for conciliation, you would not be going and going, oh, look at that. Rich is bragging about sodomy. It's not true. You know it's not true, but you did it anyway. You did it anyway. I sent you text messages showing the bids I got from the developers on Upwork. Matter of fact, I'll even do it live. I don't care. Oh, wait. You guys I'm still on the screen capture. My bad. Sorry about that. My bad. So I'll go to Upwork right now. And here's the messages from the people here. Okay, I'll click one here. So let's go here. During the non-active time, I researched the data about Restore the Blog, and I am sure to implement for it. I already collected the data for Restoring Blog, and if I start, I will finish and complete clearly within your time. Hey, are you there? His thing was $1,500. Now, again, if you guys have ever used Upwork before, which I have, they're the ones who did my website for me, the Words for Christ website. You pay them and you have to tip them. The good thing about Upwork is when you hire them, you put the money in escrow and you set milestones. And you say, I want this done by this date, this done by this date. And as you do that, you release the money to them when you're satisfied. And then it's all good. If you're not satisfied, the money isn't released. And then, what's his name? What's the company's name? Upwork steps in to figure out what's going on. And if the job's not met, then you give your money back. So it's really no loss there. Here's another one. Okay, this is right on my phone. This is Upwork. You can see it here. Okay, $1,500 bid. Okay. So again, I'm showing, don't give this hireling money. Yeah, because I'm trying to do that because that's what I do. I'm not the one making posts and give so-and-so money because Ruben gave him money. I haven't done that. Here's another one. From 2011, 2002, 3, 3, whatever dates are available, there only I can recover as HTML page with images. One more thing I want to say, we need to recreate each page there in officialstreetpreachers.blogspot.com. Are you having a list of all dates available, or should I check and get back to you? Sorry for typo. I checked it, probably 60 dates are available to recover. That's what he said. Okay? And that's the bid he gave. His guy gave me $1,200. So it's better than the other ones. And 100% job success. And let's see how much money these guys have made. Their feedback is great. Oops. So again, I'm proving I don't lie. But again, we're only going to take down the lying posts about you if you do something that I want. If you're a Christian, correct me. And if I'm wrong, correct me. I have no problem being corrected. Ruben corrected me when I needed it. If you know something's a lie and you posted it and then you find out what you posted was not the truth, as a Christian, should you take it down or should you take it down with conditions? What do you people think? This stuff is sad, but it needs to be done. It needs to be done because there's too much garbage going around. There's too much he said, she said. People are making phone calls or doing this, and I'm getting phone calls, John saying this, JK. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, take it down immediately. Exactly. There should be no conditions about it. I've done it before. I've said things before that, turned out to not be true. And I said, got to take it down. Fake news, right? If you post something that's not true, I've taken it down. It happens sometimes. But I don't put conditions on things. You'll notice I took down every video that I ever made about a certain individual. And I didn't do it because I was wrong. I did it because in truth, I wanted peace. I didn't put conditions attached to it. I wanted peace. So I said, I'll do it because you know what? I just don't want to bother with stuff anymore. And I did. And John, if I was going to get ripped off, then I wasn't ripping people off. You saying that I was trying to take money was wrong, and it's not true. So you literally just saw live from my phone the comments, and yet you told people that I was trying to steal money. And you don't feel any remorse for that, or saying, hey, listen, Rich didn't do that? Whether you and I are friends or not doesn't matter. If I said something about you that wasn't true and it turned out later on that I was wrong, even though I can't stand you, I would absolutely say, you know what? I was wrong. And I wouldn't put conditions attached to it. But that's just me. I can't stand a lot of other people. But if I find out I've said something wasn't true or misinformation, I'm going to correct it later on, because even though I may not like somebody, the truth is more important than my personal feelings. That's just the way it is. You were taking a cut at the top. Do the math, big boy. See? Still lying. Still lying. Always want, But you have a heart for reconciliation, right? I'm taking a cut at the top. $1,500 plus tip. Do the math. Still, see, that's what they want to do. But you have a heart for reconciliation, right? I mean, you got to see this. You were taking up to do the math, big boy. See, always got to find a way. Because, again, always got to find a way to try to justify the lie. I don't care. I really don't care, John. The jig is up. First of all, that was a bid from one guy that I just saw, okay? Or whatever. I took the post down when I found out that you couldn't restore the whole thing. It's about a $300-400 tip. $1,500 plus $300-400, $1,800. I asked for $2,000 because I figured it would cost that much. So again, I get it. You want excuses to slander people. Go right ahead. You know what? Nobody really cared. You lied. I posted the screenshots. They know it. Now you're looking for ways to say, nope, not. Don't take it down. I really don't care. This isn't a matter of me being hurt by it. I don't care. It helps me to show others your character. You want to do things to slander people because you want control. That's what this is all about for you, John. You want control. That's why you demand people to make a loyalty oath to you. Or maybe Petar's lying too, right? Or maybe Kaylee's lying. Everybody's lying, right? Except for you and JK. You guys are the only ones. Everybody else is lying. Eduardo's lying. Kaylee's lying. Petar's lying. Lavelle's are lying. Everybody's lying except for you guys. That's why you want to tell people, and even Nicholas down there, even Pastor Vic says, you're not even welcome in his church anymore. Nicholas made a whole video of literally taking what you said and showing how you lied. And just now you're doing the same thing. So it doesn't matter. Like I said, I don't need any of you. I never did. I didn't need Ruben. I enjoyed working with Ruben because I loved Ruben. There was no hey man, you know what? I'm gonna get Ruben's stuff when he dies. I didn't want Ruben to die. I would give anything to bring him back. But that's just me. So this is some house cleaning. And again, those watching can do whatever you want. You want to go ahead and make posts and videos about me, calling me, whatever, go right ahead. It wouldn't be the first time. It's not going to be the last. You want to go watching my preaching videos and dig through to find clips to try to slander me? Get in line. There's 4 or 5 people. The homos do it all the time. Well, actually, they don't do it all the time. It's actually fake Christians that do it more than anybody else. Be my guest. It hasn't hurt me one bit in 4 years. It's not going to hurt me going forward. Because while you're busy doing that, I'm actually busy doing actual things for the kingdom of God. And that goes for anybody. If you want to ignore the problems within our own community and then go out and rebuke other churches for problems or covering up scandals, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. If you want to keep the deep, dark secrets buried because, for optics, for the sake of unity, well, you know what? That's not me. That's not who I am. When I started doing ministry, at least when I started online, I was doing stuff online way before I did stuff out in the street. I was very popular on Facebook. I had hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook. It was very popular before I did any open air preaching. Okay? I didn't play games then. I'm not going to play games now. I didn't pretend who I was not. And one of the things I thought back then, and even Ruben said this was to my detriment. He didn't agree with this, okay? But this is how I felt at the time. I said when I started doing ministry online, I felt like I had to be more, okay, you're right. Why would not Ruben to come back and visit glory? You're right. I'll give you that. I don't want to take Ruben into glory. You're right. You're right. I don't want that. Actually, Ruben would probably be mad at me if I did that. So, you're right. I'm just saying, I miss Ruben. I'd like to have him back, but you're right. It's selfish of me. You're right. I'll give you that. But anyway, when I started preaching online, I felt like I had a duty to be more open and transparent about who I was and who my family was to people that don't know, because you're seeing a video. You're not in my home. You don't know. A lot of these people that saw me online doing, they didn't know who I was. So I tried to share almost every aspect of my life. And you can go back and look. Kelly and Ryan can tell you. Sherry McLean can tell you. Aaron Guidry can tell you. Dee Chan can tell you from Australia. I shared everything. Mandy was pregnant. We were on our way to the hospital to go delivery. I was in the car. I was talking to these people. I was live because I wanted them to know everything. I felt like I had a double duty to make sure people knew who I was. I was open about everything. I've always been very open about everything. And like Ruben said, it was to my detriment. It was to my detriment because people would take things out of context or whatever, and they would use it against me. And they'd make videos. And I said, I don't care. And I never did care. Because the people that would genuinely, I cared more about being truthful, being upfront, being honest. When I preach, it's not because I'm a fan of preaching. It's not because I want to be in a boys' club. It's not because it's not because I fell in love with actual preaching versus, what the message is all about. I preach because God told me to. I preach because I want to stop child trafficking. I preach because I want to stop the child grooming. I preach because I want to see people set free. I truly want to see people set free. I want the church to be alive. I want the church to be on fire. I want people to not live in drug addiction. I don't want people to live in sexual sin. That's why I do it, because I genuinely don't want that for people. And I will use any means necessary, short of sinning, to try to make that happen. I'm not in this to try to win awards. I'm not in this to try to make friends. And don't be wrong, I love fellowship. I love, all the 15 or whatever it was that was at my house here this last trip to Bartlesville. I enjoyed every second of the fellowship with Ed and Mark and Dave and Tracy and Kat and Kaylee and and Sheila, because Sheila came out here. I enjoyed every second of it. Every second of the fellowship I enjoy with my brothers and sisters. And I look forward to when they come back again. Okay? I love fellowship. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Lone Ranger. But I am not willing to compromise for the sake of unity. I will not tolerate. And before Ruben died, Ruben said, and you can check with Jim Weber and everyone else, that oneness people are not allowed to preach and they cannot speak at SOPA. That's what Ruben said. And why? Because 2 John chapter 1, and I know I'm moving fast here because I've been on for a long time and I don't want to keep you guys too long, but 2 John chapter 1 verse 7 says, "For many deceivers have gone out in the world, they do not acknowledge Jesus Christ as coming in the flesh." Now, if you talk to a oneness person, they'll tell you, "What are you talking about, Rich? We acknowledge it." No. They acknowledge that the Father came in the flesh, not the Son. They believe that Jesus Christ is the Father. So they believe the Father came in the flesh, not the Son. So they deny that Jesus came in the flesh, thus making them deceivers and antichrist. That's Bible. That's not reaching. That's not giving an opinion. That's literally what it says. And yet we find that the oneness have infiltrated. And Ruben, he told me, I guess he thought it was just air at first, didn't really understand what the oneness stuff was, because again, Ruben wasn't really focused on that kind of stuff. But once we started showing him, and once Jim Weber started, once Ruben picked up his Bible, he saw it. And of course, Quincy's all upset saying, "You convinced Ruben I'm a heretic." Really? You think that me can convince me, okay, 47 years old, could convince Ruben, who has been preaching for 40 years, the man knew his Bible better than probably any one of us out in the street. And you think that I could convince him that you're a heretic? You really think that little of Ruben? That you think I could convince him that? No. Okay? But the oneness heretics are out there. They got bad fruits. You Trinitarians have bad fruit. You see, that's called a straw man argument. And again, define bad fruits, because people are disfellowshipping up the oneness guys because it's heresy, and they're blaming me, saying, you convinced them. No, the Bible says it. Oneness Pentecostals are antichrist. Even Tertullian wrote a treatise against it. Okay? Condemning it as heresy 100 years before the Catholic Church existed. It's called Against Praxeas. You can look it up and read it. It's actually really good. Our early church fathers were speaking out against this kind of stuff. And today, in modern Christianity, even in the street preaching circles, we want to pretend like, no, brother, we don't want to do that. The early church dealt with sin. They dealt with these things in their camp. When oneness came in, they dealt with it. When Marcion came in, when the Gnostics came with their garbage, they dealt with it. They didn't hide it. They didn't bury it. They didn't say, let's have a conference about it and discuss it. No, they were very open. They were public. They wrote about it, and they put it out for everybody to see because they wanted to make sure people knew. But today, we don't want to do that. Instead, we want to claim that those who do those things are divisive. Well, then you have a problem with the entire Bible, because Paul called out churches and people. Jesus called out churches and people. The early church fathers wrote books calling this stuff out. But you know what? We want to say that we're just like the early church as street preachers, but not do the things the early church did? You're out of your mind. So again, there needs to be a cleansing of the church. There needs to be a cleansing in the temple. If there's sin in our camps, we need to deal with it. We can't brush it under the rug. We can't just let things die, let things go away. We need to deal with these things. And if there is people that are in sin, we need to make sure that if they're in sin, they call them. And if you do have a grudge against somebody for something that happened 10 years ago, call them. Because you know what? I'm getting stories. I'm hearing things. I heard somebody call me up and say that Jim Gillis stood at that SOPA thing, I guess 2017, and was screaming and yelling things at Reuben. I watched the entire video yesterday. That never happened. Literally never happened. So people are saying things like this to others, and people assume it's true because they don't do their homework. And too many of us have relied upon the witness of people that we say we trust. And yet we have been, get lied to all the time. Tonight's video should show you people are not honest. There are people out there, and the Bible says that these contentions, strife, all this stuff, it stems from jealousy and envy. That's all it is. And I get it, Reuben, but you know what? You know how many people told me that they weren't chummy with Reuben? They only really sell him or dealt with him when it came time to SOPA and that? I talked to Reuben almost every single day. Through text, the guy, he would send Christmas cards to my kids. He would call them on their birthdays. I'd send him stuff on his birthday. That's the relationship we were brothers. And I understand we're not Reubenites. We're Christians. We don't, Reuben said we don't contend for his name. But I had enough respect for Reuben to not trash his name, to not sit there and try to make him out to be something he's not because I want to take over and I crave power and control. I don't have minions calling up people to try to get information from me. I don't have hirelings and lemmings. I don't lie about people and then claim they're lying about me. And I've said it before, sitting in. If you want to believe something somebody says about me, or you, or anybody else for that matter, and you don't go to, and if somebody's talking about them, and you don't go to the person, you are guilty of participating in the gossip. And the Bible says by participating, you're just as guilty as the one doing it. Remember when John called Brian Cranford a talebearer for calling him out in his lies? Remember that? How many of you ignored that? How many of you remember the little railing video where John condemned Cindy Smock and then said that if you say that Reuben privately repented to him? How many of you actually believe Reuben did that? And yet, a lot of you out there, when you see this video, don't even care. Well, it's a minor thing. It's not a minor thing. How do you take over somebody's ministry ultimately to try to destroy it and erase their history and legacy and to make it? How do you do that? You can't claim you love a brother or sister when you're out to destroy them, whether they're dead or alive. That's not love. Delilah pretended to love Samson for how long? Wined him, dined him, did all the things, made him think she loved him. And when he got drunk off asleep, she took his hair and was out to destroy him. How many Christians today have a Delilah-like spirit where they're friends with you, they pretend to love you, they care about you, but their ultimate aim is to destroy you, to take your power, to destroy you? How many of you know people like that? And how many of us are going to ignore it? To recap, I was one of the guys that stood outside the Southern Baptist Convention and called them to repentance and rebuked them for covering up the scandal in their church where they were having sex and fornicating. Almost every preacher I know universally agree with doing that. But yet, now here we are within our own community, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be talked about and dealt with, and we don't want to pretend like it doesn't happen. We want to just bury these things and move on. It's okay if people lie. It's okay if they're swindlers. It's okay if they want to slander you. It's okay if they want to rail against you. It's okay if they want to misinterpret things. You notice when John came on and he didn't address his lies about the sodomy thing, they didn't want to address that. No. I even called somebody out who thinks that they can't be corrected by somebody because they're 20 years older than me, who told me sodomy is oral sex. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And again, I'm not defending it or I'm not going against it. I'm simply saying, give me the Bible proof. Give me Bible. I don't want to hear your opinions. Give me Bible. And if you give me the Webster's Dictionary saying that's what it means, then you better take Webster's Dictionary to be your gospel and believe everything it says. So if you agree with Webster's Dictionary in this definition, then you have to agree with it in this definition. Or you literally are guilty of picking and choosing. Okay? And I'm going to share with you Song of Solomon. I wasn't going to do this earlier, but it's late enough. I know the kids are on here. So, Song of Solomon, Song of Songs, Song of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 6 through 9 says, "How beautiful and how delightful you are, my love, with all your charms. Your stature is like a palm tree, and your breasts are like its clusters. I said, I will climb the palm tree. I will take hold of its fruit stalks. Oh, may your breasts be like clusters of the vine, and the fragrance of your breath like apples, and your mouth like the best wine. It goes down smoothly for my beloved, flowing gently through the lips of those who fall asleep." How about chapter 2, verse 3? The wife is acting on her husband. "Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest, so is my beloved among the young men. In his shade I took great delight and sat down, and his fruit was sweet to my taste." Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 6, husband to the wife. "Awake, O north wind, and come, wind of the south. Make my garden breath out fragrance. Let its spices be wafted abroad. May my beloved come into his garden and eat its choice fruits." Song of Songs, Song of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. "I have come into my garden, my sister and my bride. I have gathered my myrrh along with my balsam. I have eaten my honeycomb and my honey. I have drunk my wine and my milk." God then speaking to the husband and wife as lovers as he views and enjoys their celebration. "Eat, friends, drink, and imbibe deeply, O lovers." I'm just saying. So if you're going to say that you have issues with those verses, those are in our, remember Ruby said all the time, it's in our Bible. It's there. Can't pretend like it's not. You have Ezekiel talking about the size of a man's, private parts and his ejaculate. It's in our Bibles. So don't be so quick to condemn people to hell for things that you may not like. And if you don't like doing it or doing it, whatever, then don't or do whatever the Holy Ghost leads you to do. But don't condemn others and use a modern definition of a word simply because it agrees with you. Because once again, if you use that, then you better agree with Webster's Dictionary of Gender. If you say, no, they got that wrong. Oh, so what they got right was the parts you agree with, but they got wrong the parts you disagree with. Doesn't work that way. Condemning an entire group of people to hell for things they do with their husband or their wife in their bedroom is none of your business. And cracking a joke in a pride to lower the temperature is not somebody bragging about their sexual exploits with their spouse. That is a lie, flat out lie. But we know Reuben's own words, taking clips of videos without the context is evil. It is and if you want to hear it again, here's Brother Ruben in his own words about taking clips without the context.
Prophet who said, God's going to wipe dung on your face. And the context of that teaching was, do we really know what the word dung is today? If Malachi was alive today, and then I gave definitions. That was the context. Yeah. Everywhere I go preach.
Hold on, I had to reset it.
I'd just like to say a few things. First of all, I was on that list. And like Paul Harvey would say, and now the rest of the story. You know, our President Trump calls the media the fake news. And there's a reason why. Whoever did the editing for you, brother, is a devil.
Cherry pick.
Whoever did the editing for you is a devil. I said the word, S word, but I said it in its context. I was quoting from an Old Testament prophet who said, God's going to wipe dung on your face. And the context of that teaching was, do we really know what the word dung is today? If Malachi was alive today, and then I gave definitions. That was the context. Yeah. Everywhere I go preach, there's cameras around me. I can't go anywhere without a camera. I'm going to a news studio tomorrow, to do an interview. There isn't cussing. The context of that was me giving that teaching. You're just as bad, whoever edited that, as the fake news.
So you get a rebuke me now?
No, I'm telling you, I'm clearing it up. I also said to somebody, to a woman in Florida, may God bless you with breast cancer. Let me tell you.
Is that a blessing?
Let me tell you the rest of the story. What you will never hear on the video is that woman came back 15 minutes later weeping.
Hallelujah!
The doctor just told her 2 days ago she had breast cancer. Okay? Wow! You talk about railing, you'd have issues with the Apostle Paul, who called Simon Peter a bunch of names and cursed him. It's in the book of Acts.
Jesus.
You can define words. You cannot define an example. That's the unique thing about the Bible. You can talk about words and definitions. I know people who understand Greek and English. Both of these guys wouldn't be able to even enunciate those words in Hebrew. But when you have examples, that eliminates the definition. Do understand, Paul made it very clear. I curse you, Bar Jesus, with blindness. If that ain't turning the other cheek, I don't know what is.
Ruben's own words, taking clips without the context is something a devil does. Not St. Peter, Bar Jesus. In Acts, he said yes. Anyway, but whoever takes clips like that, and look, people are notorious. The people that have an axe to grind, the people that want clout, the people that want whatever, they think they're going to make a name for themselves off of you. So I ask you folks, do you really think that somebody who does the exact opposite of what Ruben said, somebody who Ruben calls a devil, is fit to lead? And you make the decision. You do what you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to preach or not to preach. That's not my job. All I know is that that's what John Williams did to me. He went through and looked at the preach in Austin, and somebody said to, I think it was Dean, you are a PSSY. And I said, oh, I guess, and we started laughing to lower the temperature as a joke to lighten up the whole thing because it was getting tense. That's the context. But instead, what you got from John was I said it bragging about, sodomy, which, by the way, that's not even the definition. But what do I know? I just do my study. I don't just flip off at the mouth and say things because I don't agree or agree with certain things. Okay? So, again, context matters. And you can justify John all you want. You may not like what I said. That's fine. We know how you feel about Cindy. You said Cindy's a rail, and you condemned her, so I expect nothing less from me. So, and it's fine. I really don't care. You were bragging, pervert. See, he still wants a lie. Because again, he needs to justify the lie. Maybe John's just jealous because his wife doesn't want to be at home with him because she left. Maybe, I don't know. All I know is that a man whose family wants nothing to do with him, who says that they are resenting him, who can't stand to be around him, I don't know. I mean, the Bible says you got to be fit to, you got to rule your house well. Just saying. You can't ignore that. That's what the Bible says. And whatever motivation you want, you're bragging. You're a liar. See, you know you're lying. You're caught. That's why you're texting me right now, because you know you're a liar. You weren't there, which is funny because John's the same guy. When I was out in LA with Ruben and him, and I was standing in the box and I yelled at a woman, "You're a whore," because of what she was doing. John is the same guy at that time who said, people are going to be upset that I called her a whore, but they don't see what I see. They weren't there, that we've got to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's what John Williams said back 4 years ago. We went from that to now you heard me say something, you're bragging. Just like Cindy Smock is bragging when she says it instead of referencing it, right? You're just a slanderous devil, and that's it. And that's it. You don't even know what the word sodomy means. You use a modern definition of a word, but you reject the modern definition of gender. You pick and choose based upon you're a devil. You're uneducated. The Bible talks about people like that are uneducated. They want to be teachers, but they're uneducated. And they speak confidently about things they don't know what they're talking about. That's what's happening here. You're right. What about that's the yeah? There's the spirit of reconciliation. That's another lie. We have a heart for reconciliation. Meanwhile, you're doing mental gymnastics and cheetah flips to justify slander while you continue to slander. But yeah, you've got a real heart for reconciliation. Oh, that's great. Good point. So again, I'm not walking on eggshells anymore for people. I'm tired of people being able to do and say what they want about others, but then if I do it, brother, you got to be the bigger man. No, these are real issues that need to be dealt with. Why is it that guys like that can lie and slander and do all these things and then continue to justify it? Which, believe me, I'm sure tomorrow we'll see 6 posts because that's what these guys do. When they're desperate to control the narrative and they're desperate to do whatever, that's what they do. This isn't my first, most of you watching know this isn't my first rodeo with guys like this. Believe me, it's going to become an obsession because of damage control. As far as I'm concerned, let the chips fall where they may. If you don't like what I said tonight, that's fine. But it's time for us as preachers to actually start living and doing the things that we preach about. That includes if there's sin in our own camp, then that means we need to deal with it. We can't ignore it. We need to address it. And if there is evil in our own camp, we need to purge it, not excuse it, not justify it, not say, well, you know what, I have this and that. And by the way, if you're questioning whether Jesus was a created being or not, how can you even call yourself a Christian? How can you sit there and say you're not sure, well, did Jesus exist in the incarnation or did he exist prior to? If you don't know the answer to that question, you probably aren't saved. Because Jesus pre-existed with God. The Bible makes it clear. He was with God. Jesus is the Son. He's not the Father. Okay? It's very, very clear who Jesus Christ is. Okay? Okay? There he goes. Oh, man, this is hypocrite. See, watch. I know how to stir these guys up. It's funny. But if you have to ask that question, I mean, that's a fundamental issue when you get saved to know who Jesus Christ is. And if you deny that Jesus existed with God, if you claim that Jesus Christ is the Father, you deny the Son. And the strawman is, aren't you a father and a son? I'm a father to my child and I'm a son to my father. I am not my own father. I am not my father. The word begotten means to be fathered by. In order for Jesus to be begotten, he has to be fathered. Somebody had to father Jesus for him to be begotten. That's an important distinction there. And if you don't know that, then you really need to stop preaching and go back and study your Bible. And there are preachers out there that don't know. There are preachers out there that I've heard and they've said publicly, I see no difference between oneness and Trinity. So do you not see a difference between Trinity, Christianity and Mormonism? Oneness teach that Jesus is the Father. We preach Jesus is not the Father. Therefore, we're preaching two different Jesuses. One of us is right, one of us is wrong. There's a huge distinction. And pretending like there's not in order to try to put this ecumenical body together, when street preachers traditionally and historically have been against ecumenicism, and yet we're willing to yoke up with heretics, antichrist, liars, slanderers, Pharisees, control freaks, for what? What kind of effectiveness do you think you're going to have as a preacher? If your goal is to unify, regardless of the cost or consequence, regardless of what one believes, whatever, and I'm not talking about secondary issues. The rapture is a secondary issue. Okay? We're not going to divide over whether you're pre, mid, or post. That's stupid. That's not salvation pending. Okay? No one's going to get saved by whether they get raptured now or later. No one gets saved by that. Okay? It's a secondary issue. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things that matter. There is sin that is just as bad as homosexuality. Don't think for 1 second that if you participate in slander that you're okay. Because if you read Revelation, the first people that go to hell are cowards, liars, deceivers. They go to hell. And if you take something and you're using it and deceiving people about somebody else, you're bearing false witness. And then if you try to say, like you're cutting off the top, you can't prove that. You're just making it up because you know that you got caught in a lie and you don't want to take it down because you'd have to admit you were wrong. The problem with Pharisees is they never want to admit when they're wrong. They want you to admit when you're wrong. They want you to repent, but they themselves never want to repent of anything, ever. They think that they're right. Just remember, the blood of Jesus doesn't cover the willful sin. See? Cover the sin if you and your wife partake in oral sex. He's a pervert. That's what he just texted me. This guy now is worrying about what my wife and I do in our bedroom. He's a Pharisee. So now you can't say certain words in the street, and now he gets to tell you what you do in your bedroom with your spouse. So if you have oral sex with your spouse, you're going to hell according to John Williams. You got to make sure you write down what you and your husband are doing. Maybe next he'll go into only, and by the way, if that's your point, you better not touch each other physically with your hands. That's not okay. Okay, the Bible doesn't say you can stimulate your partner, your spouse with your hand. Can't do that. Okay, can't do that. Okay, also, missionary only, any other position would be wrong. Okay, when you allow people to dictate what you can, and again, this is a man, John clearly doesn't know the Bible. He's a Pharisee. He's a legalist and a Pharisee. And we just proved it. Right, I don't appreciate John assuming you're lying. Exactly, he has no idea. Some people do, man, you know. Why are you bringing up unnecessary division? See, why am I bringing up unnecessary division and call John Williams a slanderer? See how people do? He can say what he wants about me, and that's fine. But the minute I call it out and defend myself, I'm wrong. I'm done playing that game. John Williams is doing why don't you have a chat with him in this set? You don't even know what's going on. You're coming in halfway through. John Williams is a slanderer. You're doing what you claim John. I'm slandering John? No, now you're lying. See, everybody doesn't want to talk about stuff because, again, we want to... I'm just saying. You don't know. And I've told several people that were not involved. Look, people that weren't even at Ruben's funeral shouldn't have stuck their nose in this whole thing anyway. It's none of their business. They don't even know what's going on. Okay, if you weren't there involved in this, you shouldn't try to interject yourself in it. Everybody wants to be part of the controversy, the stir up or whatever. Show the text on the screen. Okay. I got it. How many posts and videos here? Just remember, the blood of Jesus doesn't cover the willful sin of you and your wife if you continue partaking. Or how does he know if I do it or not anyway? He has no idea. He's a pervert. How long have you been thinking about my wife in my bedroom, you sick pervert? Should I make a post saying that John is thinking about what my wife and I do in our bedroom? because he's texting me, I can share the text and say, look, all this guy's thinking about is what my wife and I do in our bedroom. Why are you so concerned with what my wife and I do in our bedroom, John? You're a pervert. You're disgusting. You're a filthy, disgusting pervert. You're disgusting. But again, I expect nothing less from a legalist who wants to control every aspect of your life. Do it his way. Can't back up what he says biblically. There is nothing in the Bible, and again, I'm not arguing for or against, and my position on that is what I do or don't do with my wife is none of your business. What you do with your husband or your wife is none of my business. The word sodomy does not exist in the Bible. So, sodomy existed in 390. This is what happens when you're uneducated and you're a Pharisee. You just kind of make things up. Does Noah's Webster's Dictionary 2023 say that it is? Yes. Does the same dictionary say gender is a social construct? Yes. So do we believe everything it says? No. Oh, I got you. See, again, he's still talking. Ezekiel 33, he said pervert. He called me a pervert for what he assumes I do with my wife. He's the one sitting here thinking about what I'm doing for my wife. In Ezekiel 33, let's read Ezekiel 33. This is his defense saying the Bible says about oral sex. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of their coats and send him for their watchmen. If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him, but he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the... okay, I get it. He's saying he's a watchman now. I understand it. yeah. You. So guys, just remember this. If you're yoked up with John, this is going to be your bedroom. That's what's going to happen to you in your bedroom. Husband, he's going to be taking notes. That's going to be what happens. That's going to be your bedroom now. Gotta make that. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Anyway, I'm not going to get into people's bedroom lies. What people do, what they don't do is none of my business. I'm not going to speculate, and I'm not going to sit there and focus on what people do or don't do in their bedrooms, because I'm not a pervert like some. I'm just saying. Again, uneducated people have no business teaching or preaching. How about your wife's XXX Diablo email address? Oh, so now he's going to lie. So, okay, ready for this? I want to show you this. John Williams is a lying piece of trash. How about my life's, and by the way, this is coming from the guy who wants peace and everything else. How about my wife's XXS Diablo email address? You are a filthy scumbag. That is a flat out lie, John. I know where you got that from. You're a liar. Now you're accusing my wife of having an expert email address? You Christians out there that follow this guy? He's taking, and I know where he got it from. He got it from the same guy who says, I want peace, I want truce, and yet is still obsessing and doing things. And now he's literally lying about my wife, saying my wife has an extra email address. Do you want to know where he got that from? He got it because Eric Love made a video saying that my wife had it because he did a background check and the email address came up with an address we lived at 10 years ago. Had nothing to do with my wife. And even suggesting that, you are a scumbag. How many times did you rebuke people for going after people's wives and now you are just a, oh wait, I'm sorry. John has a heart for reconciliation. He has a heart for reconciliation, but he's participating in gossip and slander from a guy who helped lesbians get a restraining order against me. The people actually emailed the lesbians to try to help them say that the words of Jesus are hate speech. And that's his source. Whatever. But remember, guys, some of these guys want peace. They want a truce, but yet they still are lying, deceiving, and I'm sure there's going to be more videos coming up. And of course, to even repeat something so insanely stupid like that, again, it shows who John is. But he's got a heart for reconciliation. Accusing my wife, and he said he asked a question. Let me show you the text message. How about your wife's XXX Diablo email address? Does that sound like he's asking a question or making an accusation? That's what he said. Liar. Filthy, disgusting liar. The last few texts are all about sex with my wife and I. We do or don't do. And now he's going to repeat the lies of a guy who he called a homosexual just a year ago, who said he acted like a sodomite. That's now a source of information. Well, then again, he did post and validate a guy who said he dreamt Reuben came to him in a dream and said, you didn't give John the password. Wow. Well, there you have it, folks. And again, I guess I'm the wrong one here, right? This guy can say that my wife has an X-rated email address. He can sit there and say, or he can dictate what definition of words are. He can go on there and say that we're trying to steal money from people. And I'm just supposed to say, it's okay. We want unity. And again, don't call Jim Morelli. You don't know, because the only thing you've heard is stuff you heard about Jim. Why don't you talk to Jim yourself and ask him to give you video proof. Ask those who have told you bad things about Jim, ask them to give the proof of what they say, just like anybody else, by the way. Because if you start calling people things based on what others have told you, you have now become a railer. So be very, very careful of that. But I think I've made my point here tonight. Never trust someone who claims to be a Christian and puts their mouth on a penis or vagina. Repent, pervert, penkoski. There he goes. Look at this. All the guy can talk about is what my wife and I may or may not do in the bedroom. That's all he's talking about. Look, there it is. You guys can see it. That's all he's talking about. He's a pervert. I knew it. These guys they're just perverts. All they think about is sex, 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 sex. And because they don't have a spouse of sex, they want to make sure that pervert. You saw it there for yourself. He's a pervert. Simple as that. Fortunately, John's a scumbag who's a railer, a liar, a legalist, a Pharisee, who falsely now accused my wife of having an X-rated email address based upon the lies of a known slanderer, a known liar, and a known railer. Wow. But hey, man, he's leading Reuben's ministry. But, maybe Reuben will come to him in a dream tonight and validate what he said, and they'll share that dream with you guys and say, Brother Reuben came to me in a dream. I don't know. But I made my point. You saw him for who he is. He's a pervert. And if you want to work with a guy like that, go right ahead. You're free to do whatever you want. But when you're ineffective, or when you start getting told what you can wear, what you can't wear, who you can marry, who you can't marry, what you can say, what you can't say, where you can preach, where you can't preach, you'll understand why. Because Pharisees, guys like this, they want complete and utter control of every aspect of your life. You're warned. You do with it with what you please. But anyway, for those of you who hung here for this, I thank you. I appreciate it. And David Tripp, I'd like to see what you're going to do with this information. John Williams you saw the text message. He said my wife had an email address, extra email address, and then he claims he was just asking the question. He said, how about this? That's not a question. He accused my wife of having a pornographic email address. And I guess we're just going to say that that's okay? That is a railing accusation. But that's okay? Again, unity at all cost, right? I'm just saying. Anyway, so for those of you who stayed with me this whole time, I appreciate you. Thank you. I promise you, I will not be doing a video like this again. I made my point. I don't need to make another one. The information's out there. Do with it what you will. What's today? Sunday. So Wednesday night, I'll be back doing a regular teaching. And that's it. So again, be careful who you preach with. And listen, if, again, I'm no stranger to people lying about me. It's the cost of being out in public. Everybody wants to say things about you because they think somehow they're gonna make a name for themselves off your back. They take clips, they frame an ad around it, and the only people that strive to it are the other haters. That's it. I mean, that's all there is to it. Okay? And just remember, there are literally guys out there who pretend to be Christians. Okay, and I want you to remember this, because once my appeal is done, every document, the transcript, everything is going to be out there, including the packet that was this thick of the evidence that they tried to use against me. And you're going to find they were Christian, and they think it's okay, by the way. They justify it. There are a couple Christians that actually emailed the lesbians and tried to help them get the restraining order against me. And Liberty Counsel, my attorney on CBN, even said that this case of mine could have, so two people who call themselves Christians thought it was okay to try to help a lesbian get a restraining order against me because of preaching that posting Matthew 18:6 and Romans 1:32. They actually tried. No, they actually didn't try. They did help them because she was successful. They were, whatever. Help them. It's weird. People are weird coming out here now, right? Let's see. Oh, another one. He actually, man, now he's making memes. John's making memes now. He's obsessed.
What is it? I can't see.
He says, I am gonna eat rich pea. He's upset. All he's talked about let's see. Let's see the time here. I can't, how do you do it on Android? 11:27, whatever it is. For the last probably 15 minutes, it's just talking about what you and I may or may not do on his assumption, on a word he doesn't know the definition of, and taking a clip and show them pervert? Sure. There you go. Obsessed. He's obsessed. Now, look what he's doing. That's his text. That's him.
That's like demonic.
That's actually him.
Yeah, he's like demon possessed. That's not normal behavior.
No, this is what he's doing.
Like seething and foaming out of the mouth.
No, because what happens now is he's desperate because he got caught lying. He got caught doing something Ruben said devils do, and he's got to try to damage control now. He's disgusting. He's a pervert. Now you know why he can't keep a woman. Now you know why his wife and children want nothing to do with him.
Betsy, she's a good woman. I don't care what he says.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying. He's a pervert. He is a pervert. The appeal is done. You lost. No, it's not. You're stupid people. You lost. No, actually, you lost. You wish. We know who that is, by the way. The appeal is done. So let me tell you where we're on that process. So the way the appeal works is we make a brief, they get to respond, and then we get 20 days to respond to the response, and then it gets put in the calendar for disposition. So the other side made their brief, and now it's our turn to respond to their response. And that's the end of it. They don't get to respond again. It's not over yet. Not even close. It's going to be overturned. Everybody, even the news, everybody, the fact that the Chief Justice himself made a motion to keep it there, it's a good indication it's going to be returned. And when it does, man, there's going to be a lot of stuff. You guys are going to be shocked to see this. But again, I'll ask you this question. And again, I know my haters, and again, this is a seared conscious reprobate mind. Would you, and I guarantee even John Williams wouldn't do this. I guarantee you he wouldn't do this. Even as perverted and disgusting as he is and a liar and railer as he is, I guarantee you he would not go to a lesbian couple and help them try to criminalize the Bible. And I say that because he doesn't like me. That's fine. But even I don't think he would do something like that. But yet there are Christians out there who justify it, and the people that hate me just as much as they do, and I'm not complaining about that at all because we're supposed to be hated, think that that's perfectly reasonable and okay to do that. To literally help people create a situation to where all of us could be put in jail or be removed from a church for preaching against homosexuality. That's right. Christians actually helped try to do that. Okay? And by the way, so if anybody wants to say it's a fake profile from John, it's not, because those things he sent me, those are actual text messages from him. Those are actual text messages. And I hope Brian, I hope Adam, I hope you guys are watching and seeing what he's doing and saying. This is not a Christian man. This is a disgusting, railing, pharisaical pervert who's now in damage control mode. And let's see what happens next. It's going to be a lot of fun. But thank you guys for joining me tonight. I appreciate you all. The end of this month, we're going down to Atlanta. We're going to be gone for about a week, preaching colleges, high schools, going down to preach rebuke Andy Stanley's church. Brother John is a great of mine, and the devil laughs about all this. So in other words, Dave, you're okay with him saying that my wife has a pornographic email address. Got it. So you're completely fine with John Williams, who's probably making all these fake accounts now, acting like a pervert, either him or the two other guys, one of the two, I don't know. So David Tripp, he's a great friend of yours, and it's okay that he lies about my wife. In a text message and says, it's okay. It's okay that he lies about me and slanders me. That's okay with you. See? That's the group I don't want to be part of. If you're okay with that, I'm not okay with that, and I'm not okay with you. Okay? If you're okay with people slandering and railing against people's wives and with filthy, disgusting perversion like that, I'm not okay with you. You make excuses for that, you got a problem. And hey, you got to stand before God, not me. Well, I mean, I do, but you have to answer for your things. Good luck. So we're going to be gone for a week, the end of this month, and then next month we got several preaches. And then November, December, there's that Christmas drag queen show is literally coming around the country again. Do you remember last year we exposed what they were actually doing in front of those kids, where they would have fake penises coming out and pretend like they were masturbating in front of children? They pop out like breasts, and they were grinding. Gay men were grinding. They were asking kids their favorite sex positions. That tour is literally coming around America again. You can go in Google, type in drag queen Christmas show, whatever it is, and you'll look for your city and dates and go stand against it. It's coming around again. We're going to be hitting those as many as we can. We got a good team together that's going to go out there and do that. Please continue to keep us in prayer as we continue exposing some of these pedophiles. Like I said, the one pedophile predator that's in the school there in Western Heights. The teachers actually went to school wearing the shirt say, "I stand with Murnan." The teachers across the world, they're okay with this. They're okay with a guy who was arrested for possessing child porn, who admitted to possessing it, said he downloaded it on accident. Where the superintendent of schools in Oklahoma here is watching. We're working with him pretty closely. He's calling for him to be fired. So there's things that we're doing. A lot of stuff we're doing there. Some stuff I could talk about. Some stuff I can't until it's done. There's more coming. There's more exposure of more people, more stuff coming. So keep your eyes peeled. We're doing a lot of things here and again, this is Oklahoma. But imagine what's happening in your cities. Imagine what's happening in San Francisco or Los Angeles. So please keep us in prayer as we continue doing this work because these are dangerous, dangerous, dangerous people. I would never say that. I am just saying that he has always been a good friend of mine. Do not twist my words. I'm sorry if you think that. I just repeated what you said. I asked a question. I said, if you're okay with what he did, then I'm not okay with you. That's all I said. Let's see, another one here. Vengeance is mine. I don't care about watching your pharisaical videos of uneducated gobbledygook who, you can stop texting me now, John. I'm not going to respond. You can stop texting me. And I know you're watching, and I told you, stop texting me. Don't send me another text message again. And don't have anybody do it for you. So keep us in prayer. Also, if you would, if you want to help support Warriors for Christ, official street preachers or whatever, he likes me. Oh yeah. We could sure use your help. The links are down below. Gas, plane tickets, all these things here. Obsessed. We could sure use it. Again, we use it to travel the country. We do videos every time we preach. We do it on the road when we're traveling. We live stream the preachers where we're at. So, again, nobody can claim that we're not doing what we're doing. It's obvious what we're doing. But we could use some help in those areas in continuing going forward and preaching and traveling. What we did here in Oklahoma, we want to replicate that in other states, and we want to train and teach other people how to do that stuff. We have a group coming in that's going to be teaching me more than what I already know, because there's some things I just don't know how they do it. And I want to learn, because we stumbled into this by accident. This whole thing in Bartlesville and all that. It was an accident. We were just preaching a pride event, and we noticed a logo on somebody's shirt after seeing their kids screaming about male genitals. And, Amanda zoomed in and we're like, what is that? So it was an accident. And then we started learning as we went how to uncover these things, things to look for, certain phrases, keywords, certain actors, affiliations. But, we're like novices with this. And look what we uncovered. Imagine we could do when we actually have training from professionals that do this for a living every day. That's our next step. And then we're going to take that and we want to bring that and teach you guys too. And we may have a conference with some of these guys to educate us on how to take down these predators, because we took down a child ring, a trafficking ring here, and helped with the predator situation out there in Oklahoma City. If we had formal training on how these guys do this, imagine what more we could do. Go ahead. If all of us did, that'd be great, right? So we're working on that. But again, keep us in prayer. If you guys, feel so inclined, you can help down below. wfcchurch.org/give. Our Venmo is at Official Street Preachers. And my Zelle is pastor@wfcchurch.org. Every little bit helps. I have people that give $5. I have people that give $10. And they always apologize. I don't know why they apologize for that. Whatever you can. There's no command to tithe in the Bible. There's no obligatory giving in the New Testament. We give freely. We give generously. We give because we want to, not because we have to. If you believe in what we're doing and you want to help support that and go beyond prayer, we sure would appreciate any financial help you can give us as we move forward in doing this. I appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We're thankful for you guys. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, youtube.com/@Warriors for Christ Ministries, youtube.com/@Official Street Preachers. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you have your notifications turned on. If you don't have them turned on, then what's going to happen is you're going to give Google control of what you can see and what you can't see. You're going to dictate to them what content they're going to show you and what they're not. So make sure you have those notifications turned on. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Again, make sure you have those turned on. Also, don't forget we have Rumble, rumble.com/c/warriors. rumble.com/c/@Official Street Preachers. Or you can just go rumble.com, type in @Official Street Preachers. Make sure you follow us there. We don't get censored there. Google, Facebook, it's been all over the news. They have been cranking down and shadow banning and really putting the hammer down on Christians and conservatives. Because what's happening is, and I have somebody that works at Google that told me this. What they're doing is that they're going out and anybody that's done anything to expose what they're doing to kids, they're trying to stop that, because the new reports have come out and support for the LGBT is in rapid decline amongst Republicans and Democrats. 10% on Democrats from last year this year. And the reason is because people are seeing this with the videos, and they can't live anymore. So Google and Facebook and them are working overtime to try to clamp that down, because they got to support them. So they have really gone above and beyond to try to stop that flow of information, because they want to keep that stuff continuing. So They have clamped down on Prager, on me, on Crowder, on anybody that's doing this. They have really hammered down. So we need your help in exposing this stuff, getting it out there. Again, my community section, I post pictures of what's going on in schools, things that we get. I probably put it out there so you guys can call and help get this stuff stopped. And they're trying to stop it. So I need you guys to make sure you have Riley Gaines. Yeah, she's helped a lot too. Make sure you guys have notifications turned on. Make sure that you're sharing these things, because again, the more information that gets out there, the more effective we can be and the more we can shut down. So make sure you have all subscriptions on. And if you would, please share the videos. This one, if you want to share, I get it. This one's very specific to a certain community. So if you don't want to go beyond that, I get it. But this isn't the normal type of video that I do. So don't judge my content by this one. Go back and look at the other videos. You'll see a lot of preaching, a lot of teaching. That's normal. But this is stuff that needs to be addressed. It's long overdue. I've said my piece. You want to disfellowship me, friend, because you think whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to entertain stupidity anymore. I'm not going to walk on eggshells anymore. Okay? I'm not going to sit there and yoke up and say we need unity at all costs, regardless of cost or compromise. Not going to happen. Okay? They didn't do it back in the Bible. Jesus cleansed the temple with a whip. I'm not going to use a whip, but I'll use the platform God gave me. And if you think that if you want a platform, then be a Christian. Go out there and do the work for God. Maybe God will bless you. Dave will do his Christmas message, absolutely. Thank you guys again. Appreciate you all. Love you all. I'll see you guys Wednesday night.
Been listening to Warriors for Christ. Biblical, bold, truth, uncompromising. We take the Bible literally, teaching and preaching truth without any preconceived ideas. America's leading street ministry, with the goal to wake up the church and to fight back against the wickedness in the world. We hope you've gotten some useful and inspirational information from the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. Till next time, we are Warriors for Christ.